Two games down and 2 to go. Washington State winner of the first two games of the series against the Iowa Hawkeyes down in Cleburne, Texas. It's game 3 from this beautiful Saturday afternoon at La Moderna Field. And hello and welcome alongside Brandon Chapman. I'm Davis Hagen. We're happy to have you with us for this presentation of college baseball on KUGR. Game 1, 12-7 in favor of Washington State, and they led the entire way. Game 2, a little bit different. Iowa started out with the lead, and Washington State got their bats going and ended up winning the game 7-4. Cade Obermueller started for Iowa, got the loss. Washington State's Griffin Smith got the start and got the win. And then Luke Myers got this save for Washington State in that game with a 7-4 win over Iowa, winning 2 in a row now. And so, Chappie, today should be a great game 3 in a beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon.
It's a beautiful Saturday. It's the best day that this team, Washington State, has had all year. I can't speak for Iowa because they also played in Florida. But what a glorious afternoon here in Cleburne, Texas. And coming off 2 wins, I mean, look, it's tough no matter what way we spin it. We talked about being able to expose weaknesses and the importance of a tough schedule and all of that. Yeah, we understand that. But that notwithstanding, it's still hard to start the year 0-8. So coming in against a formidable foe in Iowa and winning the first 2 of this 4-game series, knowing that you're going to at least have a tie in the series, but go for that win. What a great way to start it. And let's just see if we get the series win today now.
Absolutely. It should be a really good remaining 2 games. The first 2 games were great. Washington State's bats have been going absolutely crazy in these first couple of games. They've had over double-digit hits in both games. And now it's time for the starting pitchers and for the visiting Iowa Hawkeyes on the mound today, making his 3rd start of the season. It's junior Aaron Savory. And for Washington State, also making his 3rd start of the season, is redshirt freshman Nick Lewis.
Yeah, Savory making, you said, his 3rd start, 2-0 on the year, a 1.59 ERA. He's pitched well. He had a little bit of control, a little struggle with the command in his last outing. But 2-0 and a 1.59, that's hard to argue against. We saw the same thing with Obermueller yesterday. Just a stud for Iowa, and WSU hung in there, and it was Obermueller who got the first loss of his season. WSU, look, they play small, they manufacture runs, and they don't have to do anything too fancy, and that's what they did. That was their approach against Obermueller. They got the timely hits. They took a few hit batter. You know, they earned it. They really earned it. War one for the team. Some bases on balls. They did what they needed to do to manufacture those runs and win. And I would imagine that they're going to take that same kind of approach against Savory, a guy who has really good stuff in these 11 1/3 innings that he has pitched. 16 strikeouts. Now counter that with the fact that he's also walked eight batters. So he does have the penchant for a little bit of command issues or wildness. And then for WSU, Nick Lewis, just a freshman. Okay, he's 0-1 with a 6.23. You hear that. And then you got to remember, okay, he's a freshman first. Secondly, cold weather. Mm-hmm. Pitched in cold weather. He's pitching in warm weather today. In those 8 2/3, struck out 10, 6 runs, all earned, 3 walks, 1 hit batter. Does have the 7 strikeouts, and so we'll see. We've got an Iowa Hawkeye who has some pretty decent numbers, played warm weather games, and then a Coug that's young but has played in nothing but cold weather. So absolutely. I think it should be a good matchup.
It should be a great matchup. And earlier today, we had a chance to sit down with head coach Nathan Choate. Here's the interview. Here with head coach of Washington State baseball, Nathan Choate, and you guys got your 2nd win in a row yesterday. Really good game. What were you looking for in that game, and were you proud of your guys for how they responded?
Yeah, I thought we played our best complete game of the year in all phases. I thought offensively we just stayed on it. We put a lot of pressure on them, executed a lot, got some bunts down, ran the bases better. We had the one line drive that kind of cost us, but I thought the 3 guys that came in and pitched all attacked the strike zone and pitched really well. And obviously we made an adjustment and put Luke in the closing role, and you could just see, I think the team kind of fed off that with him coming to the game late.
Yeah, you guys took on Cade Obermuller, a really good pitcher. What did you kind of look for to attack him? Because he's got good stuff, and then you guys did a really good job against him.
Yeah, I think the scheduling finally paid off for us. The arms that we saw at Arkansas, the Friday guy from Michigan State is really, really good. Obviously, UCLA's Saturday guy is good. And so, not taking any credit away from Obermuller yesterday, but it's much like we've been seeing, right? And so it wasn't anything different than what we had been seeing. So I thought we handled it pretty well.
And then you guys take advantage of opportunities really well. 3 bunts in a row in that one inning yesterday. How do you guys just kind of continue to take advantage of opportunities? You're not necessarily going to hit the long ball every single time. Just how does that kind of come to be for this team?
Yeah, it's part of our identity. It's one of the things we tried to address in the offseason is not sitting back and waiting for a 3-run home run, because sometimes that doesn't show up. And so against a guy like yesterday that's really, really good, you're probably not going to get many swings. So having the ability to bunt and execute and put some pressure on the defense, and hopefully they make a mistake, which they did, and then you get a swing, and all of a sudden it's a crooked number. And so just having different ways to put pressure on pitchers other than sitting back and waiting for a 3-run home run.
And then when you take an offensive timeout yesterday, first pitch gets a hit. What do you kind of say to a player in that situation? Do you just make sure he's in the right mindset, or what do you do?
Yeah, Gavin has been really good, and I talked earlier in the week about learning a lot about our team the last couple of weeks. And when we were playing Arkansas, he was chasing some fastballs above his eyes, and he doesn't typically do that. And in that situation, which was a big spot, he chased a fastball up and had recognized that I've seen him do that again before at Arkansas. And basically just called time and said, hey, we're not going to sacrifice right here. We're just the only thing I want you to do is to get on top of a fastball and hit it as hard as you can. And I think he did that.
That's good advice.
That ball was hit really hard, so he did a really good job seeing the ball down and then get on top and backspin on that fastball.
Yeah, and then last question. Today, watching a little more batting practice than Fungo, what's kind of going through your mind as a head coach coming into the weekend of this second half of this series?
Yeah, just trying to evaluate guys, and I know guys are itching to get in there, and almost everybody's gotten an opportunity. I think the lineup's starting to have some flow to it, but I do think one of the things that we'll have the ability to do is kind of match up a little bit more than we did last year. We're left, right, and with the lineup, and that's why you'll see Griffin Myers in there at DH against the right-handed arm. So really just evaluating swings and making sure guys are staying on it and continuing to work. And we have our first opportunity to win a series today. We obviously hadn't won a game, so first opportunity to win a series. So got Nick Lewis on the mound, excited for him to go out there and give us an opportunity to win.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Coach. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll get down to yesterday's highlights.
Iowa scored a run in the bottom of the first. It stayed 1-0 through 3 frames, but the Cougs struck back in the 4th inning. The first run coming when Gavin Roy laid down a bunt.
Manufacturing runs in other ways. Obermuller's pitch towards the plate and a bunt attempt from Roy. Dribbler out towards first, and Obermuller has to dive on it, but Longo scores with no problem as there's another perfect bunt from Washington State, and Rico Longo scores, and it's 1-1.
After that bunt, Wazoo would send Luke Thiel to the plate, and the Coug third baseman would lay down yet another WSU bunt, this one wreaking additional havoc.
Here's the 1-1 pitch from Obermuller. Showing bunt again. Thiel taps it up to Obermuller. First base going to fire to third, and it's wide. And here we go. There, you might be able to score. And they will. Washington State taps the plate. Thiel gets to second base. And Roy gets to third, and Weiss will score. Excellent play from Washington State and a wild throw from Obermuller.
That gave the Cougs a 2-1 lead. They would not hold on to that lead for too long as the Hawkeyes would tie the game on a Jackson Beeman solo shot to lead off the 4th. Then in the 5th, an RBI single up the middle by Caleb Wolf would give Iowa a 3-2 lead. Lest WSU let that stand, an all-important top of the 6th would come up, with Obermuller having only thrown 63 pitches up to that point.
The one run to help them take the lead. The next delivery, there's a fly ball hit out to right field. It's going to be deep. It's going to be over the head of Beeman and all the way to the wall. So here goes Weiss rounding second. He's going to go to third. The throw in is late, and Weiss comes up with a triple.
hopped all over that one, and it got over the head of Beeman all the way to the wall. I didn't think there was any way in the world he was going to round second, but he did, and he stands in there with a leadoff triple. Oh, mercy, what a knock by Weiss. After Wise's triple, Gavin Roy, who had the bunt single RBI earlier in the day, would step up to the dish. Here's the wind and the pitch. There's a line drive base hit to center field, so that's going to pick up Wise. It's going to tie the game at 3. Gavin Roy comes through. That would tie the game at 3. A sacrifice bunt later by Luke Thiel to move Roy to second. Will Cresswell looking to help give the Cougs the lead one more time. 3-3 here in the top of the 6th. Obermueller again looks back at second. Here's the wind in the 0-1. There's a fly ball hit into center field. It gets over the center fielder, Risley's head, and all the way to the wall. So that's going to pick up Gavin Roy, and into second base goes Will Cresswell. Oh, mercy. Cougs take a 4-3 lead. All I can think is that Risley potentially missed that one in the sun or took just a bad angle on that one. It was a line drive toward center field. It wasn't a can of corn type fly ball. And the here at La Moderna Field, and there certainly were some other highlights, but we're getting close to game time, so we're going to come back. But we will talk this game about Logan Johnstone's great catch in right field and how that was something that stymied the threat that Iowa had. Going to the starting lineups for the visiting Iowa Hawkeyes. Batting first, the left fielder Ben Wilmus. Batting second, Gable Mitchell, the second baseman. Miles Risley, the third hitter of this game, and the center fielder. Batting fourth, Caleb Wolf at first base. The right fielder, Jackson Beeman, will bat fifth. Batting sixth, Daniel Rogers, the catcher. Batting seventh, Cooper Schulte, the shortstop. Batting eighth, Connor Hennings, the designated hitter. And batting ninth, the third baseman, Ben Swales. And for the play-by-play, here's Davis Hagen.
Nick Lewis ready to throw the first pitch to Ben Wilmus, and this is a hit out to left field, and it will drop in front of Max Hartman, bounces off his glove, and it's behind him. He doesn't realize it, and Wilmus is going to get to second base on the first pitch of the game. What a start for Iowa. It gets over the head of Max Hartman on a bounce, and then he didn't realize it, had to backtrack and get to the wall, and Wilmus picks up a double.
Yeah, that's one of those that I would score that a double. That was a tricky one.
Was a good hit off the first pitch from Nick Lewis. And the defensive lineup for Washington State: left field, Max Hartman; center fielder, Cole Watterson; right field, Logan Johnstone; third base, Luke Thiel; shortstop, Gavin Roy; second base, Ollie Obenauer; first baseman, Ryan Shonsby; the pitcher, Nick Lewis; and the catcher, Noah Thine.
Yeah, we have a bit of a different battery today, which is fun.
Here's the bunt shown by Gable Mitchell. Lewis picks it up and will fire it to first base, and there's the first out of the game, but Wilmus moves to third base on the 1-3 out for Washington State.
Yeah, that was just a no-brainer. We knew Mitchell was going to show that. He's got good speed anyway, so there was always a chance that you could beat out that bunt, but his job primarily was to lay down the bunt and move Wilmus from second to third with only one out. Did a great job.
That'll bring up Risley for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Here's the first pitch from Lewis. And that will be low, and it's going to be ball one. So one out for Washington State and one hit on the first pitch of the game for Iowa. They've got a base runner on third base. It's Ben Wilmus, the left fielder at third base. Here's the pitch from Lewis. And that's inside for strike one against Risley.
Yeah, it was interesting. We had first pitch to Wilmus, first pitch bunt to Mitchell. All of a sudden, there's one out and a runner on a third base, and only two pitches have been delivered.
Here's a pitch from Lewis. Swung on and hit out to the shortstop. Gavin Roy fields it. Will fire to first base, but Risley is out. And Wilmus scored behind the play. And it's 1-0 Iowa scores, but they do get Risley out at first base.
That was a great play by Gavin Roy. He had to go hard to his right. The backhand was deep in the hole. One thing that we've seen is he's able to come up very well without the double pump, anything like that, and just throw a strike. In that case, he bounced off the turf, which is they say it's just as fast, really, the way it skips across the turf.
Caleb Wolf will come up to bat now for the Iowa Hawkeyes. He had a great day yesterday. This pitch is in for strike one. Just caught the left side of the plate. Caleb Wolf went 4 of 5 with 3 RBIs. Was the only Iowa player with multiple hits yesterday. Was a utility player on day one of this series. And here's time called.
Timeout called by the hitter.
But Caleb Wolf came in for Andy Nelson on day one, and then he started yesterday. Andy Nelson today not in the lineup, in the starting lineup for the Iowa Hawkeyes. 0-1 pitch to Wolf, swung on, fouled off. And the count goes to 0-2 against the first baseman Wolf, Nick Lewis from Corona, California. 6'1" redshirt freshman. Chappie was highlighting some of his accomplishments earlier. He's had a good season. This is his third start. The lefty's pitch. It's an 0-2 count. Swung on, hit, chopper towards the shortstop. Roy fields it, fires to first base, and it is in time, and that'll end the inning with 1 hit, 1 run, no errors, and nobody left on base for the Iowa Hawkeyes. We'll go to the bottom of the first. You're listening to KOGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Beautiful Saturday afternoon in Cleburne, Texas, at the home of the Railroaders at La Moderna Field, and it's 1-0 Iowa after the first inning for them, and now Washington State's first inning batting attempt coming up. Max Hartman will lead off for Washington State, and then Ollie Obenauer and Ryan Shonsby due up next, and it's the lefty Max Hartman versus the right-handed pitcher Aaron Savory getting his third start of the season. Hartman steps up to the plate and is ready for the first pitch from Savory, showing bunt, and that's his first strike of the game from Aaron Savory. Max Hartman has started nearly every game this season showing bunt, and at least sometimes getting on base, sometimes getting thrown out, though, but in the process has made a kind of a home for himself at the plate, starting the game with a bunt. Here's Savory's pitch, and that is a little bit high for ball 1.
The big breaking ball from Savory.
1-1 the count against Hartman. Iowa scored with 1 hit in that first inning. Ben Wilmus swung on the first pitch of the game. This pitch is outside for ball 2.
Another breaking ball.
Good stuff from Aaron Savory, the junior, 6'3", 180 pounds on the mound. He was the 2022 Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year in high school. Here's the 2-1 pitch, swung on and fouled behind the press box. And just looking up, there's a baseball lodged in the building up there. I don't know if you can see it.
I can
up
see
there.
that.
There's
Yeah,
a
just
baseball.
In the kind of in the soffit area.
Yeah. A lot of balls get hit up there. There was a couple yesterday. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss from Hartman, and he goes down swinging. And Aaron Savory had his number on that one. That'll bring up the second baseman, Ollie Obenauer. Did not have a hit yesterday, had 4 at-bats. Did score 2 runs in the first game of this series back on Thursday. And it's righty versus righty with Ryan Shonsby on deck. Savory sets his feet on the mound. 1 out for Washington State, nobody on. Here's the pitch. And that is in for strike 1 against Ollie Obenauer. Ollie Obenauer from San Jose, California, the freshman for Washington State, batting a 222 average. This is his 11th game with the 11th start. Savary's pitch swung on, chopper out towards second base. Gable Mitchell's going to field it. Throw to first base is in time with a split stretch from Caleb Wolf. And he put his body on the line for that one. That's not too comfortable.
Yeah, that was a nice play that time by Mitchell. Up the middle, a little Baltimore chop. And a tough play. He didn't have time to set his feet. He had to do that, cross his body on the run.
They were working on that, obviously, in warmups. They just continued to hammer that home. Both teams just the run and fire type of plays. Here's the pitch from Savary to Shonsby. That's in for strike one. Ryan Shonsby did not start yesterday, came in and pinch hitted, but Jack Weiss ended up getting the start. He was a late scratch from the roster, but still played, so it was an interesting thing for Washington State. 0-1 count against Shonsby. Here's the pitch from Savary. That's strike two. Good pitch from Savary. Shonsby watched it go. 2 outs, nobody on for Washington State. No hits yet in this game. Iowa leads it 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning. Here's Savary, rise and fire. And that will be fouled off. Good clang of the bat, but it goes foul on the left side. And that's stays at 0-2 against Shonsby.
That was just a poke by Shonsby, reached out and sent it down the left field line.
Shonsby, also a California native. He's from San Jose. And here's another foul off. This hits the netting and goes into the Iowa dugout on that third base side of the field.
Rode in on the hands, and he just barely got a piece of that. Those are the ones that sting a little bit.
Staying alive, though, which is a good thing for Shonsby, trying to get a hit. Here's Savary, the delivery. And that is low, and it bounces off the glove of Daniel Rogers, the catcher. Daniel Rogers did not start in that first game against Washington State, then got the start yesterday. Reese Moore was the first catcher for Iowa, then he was a designated hitter. He's not in the lineup today. 1-2 count against Shonsby. Here's the delivery from Savary, and it's a bouncer up to the second baseman. Mitchell dives and misses it, and it rolls in to center right field, and Shonsby gets aboard with a base hit.
I thought Mitchell had potentially a shot at that, but Mitchell shaded over toward first base side. Just normal depth. Just a nice poke up the middle.
That'll bring up Griffin Myers, the designated hitter. And Nathan Choate was talking about how he thought that Griffin Myers could have a good day against the right-handed pitcher Savary. And he's in at the batter's box now with Shonsby getting a lead on first base. So both teams with one hit so far in this game. Here's a delivery from Savary. And that's high for ball one.
And Griffin has some power. I mean, he's the size of a Mack truck. And when he gets a hold of one, especially against the right-hander today, no wind blowing, but he could send it a long ways.
Griffin Myers, 6'4", 212 pounds.
This is not a 6'4" center fielder.
No.
This is a 6'4" catcher.
Right. This pitch is high for ball two. Yeah, 6'4" catcher.
And nowadays it's all about stealing the low strike. He can contort like into a small space.
Very impressive athlete. 2-0 the count. Savary will throw it back to first base. Wolf caught it, but he was off the bag, and Shonsby got back in time anyways. So.
And I swear, he's just about the nicest kid on this team. I've seen him multiple times in the hotel, always studying, always doing his schoolwork. So if mom and dad are listening, he was doing his schoolwork, I promise.
Well, being away for 3 weeks at a time, that's not going to be easy on the school. Pitch from Savary is ball 3. The good news is nowadays the online classes, you can take it from anywhere pretty much. And these players, I'm in some of those classes with them as well. And last night there was an assignment due at 11:59, and a lot of them are rolling in. You can see the responses coming in, and it's like 10 p.m. The good news is it's 2 hours ahead in Texas, so they had a couple extra hours. Here's the pitch, and that's a strike. 3-1 the count. Griffin Myers battling against Savary. They've got Ryan Shonsby on first base. 2 outs. No score yet for Washington State, but Iowa does have the 1 run. 3-1 pitch from Savary. Here's the delivery. Swing down to the shortstop, and that's Schulte stepping on second base, and that will end the inning. And so no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a man Not really left on base because they
He
never
is
really
one
got
left
him.
on.
I guess they got him at first base. So one man
Fielder's
left on
choice
first
there.
base, and that will end the inning. 1-0 the score. We go to the top of the second inning. You're listening to KUGR, student voice of the Palouse. One nothing Iowa Hawkeyes lead it. We go to the top of the second inning. Jackson Beeman will come up, who hit that rocket of a shot yesterday in the fourth inning for a home run. Here's Nick Lewis's pitch. And that's strike one against Jackson Beeman, the right fielder. As we start the top of the second inning, Iowa leads it 1-0, but both teams do have a hit. Pitch from Lewis, and that's a swing high pop-up. And the second baseman, Ollie Obenauer, shielding his eyes, and it will drop right into his glove, and they get Jackson Beeman out. Great job by Ollie Obenauer. This is a bright Saturday afternoon to shield that sun, and he didn't lose it, and he does a good job to make the catch.
Yeah, you mentioned bright. We have had some sun here both of the first 2 days, but this will be by far the warmest day that we have and the sunniest day. The first day, there was some sun, but it was mixed with, I don't know, just kind of a humidity, and felt like being in Hawaii or something.
Here's the pitch from Lewis to Rogers, and that's a strike. It's just really nice to walk out of the hotel, and it's kind of the same temperature. You don't really feel any sort of change.
I actually went for a walk today.
Yeah, went to Albertsons.
That's right. A little product placement on our
sponsor. 0-2 count against Rogers, and nice pitch from Nick Lewis.
Actually, if you had that sponsor, you'd be doing more road games.
Yeah. Here's a pitch from Lewis on the 0-2. That's outside for ball one. Count goes to 1-2 against Rogers, the catcher. Wearing 31. Iowa wearing the black tops with gray bottoms. Washington State in the home whites. This pitch is low, and Thine does a good job to block it. That will be a ball, and it's 2-2 the count with one out. Nobody on for Iowa. After that pop out from Jackson Beeman, Ollie Obenauer made the catch. Here's a pitch from Nick Lewis on the 2-2. That is a foul ball. So it'll be still 2-2. Yesterday, Daniel Rogers 1 for 4 with a strikeout. 2-2 the count. Lewis, rise and fire. That's way outside. Full count against Daniel Rogers from Grayslake, Illinois. One of the few players that's not from the state of Iowa on this team. He's a graduate senior, 6'3", 215 pounds, a big unit. There's the pitch, and that is high for ball number 4, and he'll take first base with 4 balls. And Iowa gets another base runner on. That'll bring up the shortstop, Cooper Schulte, batting in the 7th spot. He's been batting in that 9th spot first couple of games, moved up to 7 with Andy Nelson was kind of being moved around, and now he's not even in the starting lineup for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, Nelson, a good utility player, a lot of speed.
Here's a pitch to Schulte, and that is high for ball 1. Nick Lewis pitching a good game so far. He started the second game of the year versus Arkansas. Gave up 2 runs in the first, but a good performance for a redshirt freshman. There's a throw back to first base on a pickoff attempt, and Rogers gets back to first base with no problem. But Nick Lewis, redshirted last year. He had a 4.5 GPA in high school. So we're talking about academics. He's a very smart man. You got to be smart to play the game of baseball. And there's a throw back to first base once again. Rogers there in time.
I would disagree with that, kind of. You have to be smart to play the game of baseball smartly.
Very, very good point. There's the second pitch, and that's 2-0.
There are a lot of people who play the game, and they're just incredibly talented. And sometimes you're like, what is going through your head?
Is that you?
No, I never got in the game.
Nick Lewis pitch, and that's strike one. 2-1 the count with 1 out, 1 runner on for Iowa. Rogers is at first base. Schulte in the batter's box against Lewis. Here's the pitch, and a bunt shown and fouled off back into the netting. Count goes to 2-2. Iowa still with just 1 hit in this game. They do have a base runner on. Nick Lewis holding the ball behind his back. Now comes set. And here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled. It'll be still 2-2. Daniel Rogers will have a chat with the first base coach. And they're going to get a replacement ball out to Nick Lewis. That one got rifled right into the dirt. And so Schulte will step back into the batter's box with the baby blue barrel. Swinging a couple of times and get ready and set. His right foot right near that line on the batter's box and a throw back to first base. Rogers gets back safely. Count still 2-2 against Schulte with 1 out, 1 runner on for Iowa at first base. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Lewis. Swung on and hit out towards left field, and it will bounce in front of Hartman and get down. And that's a base hit for Cooper Schulte, and it will advance Rogers to second base. Good hit from Cooper Schulte.
Yeah, that was one where you had a 2-strike advantage on Schulte.
And that'll bring up Connor Hennings.
And they lost him.
Who started at left field in the first game. He's the designated hitter today for Iowa. Wearing number 7, that yellow contrast with the black jerseys. Iowa does have very nice uniforms. First pitch swung on and fouled off backwards. It'll be 0-1 against Hennings with 2 base runners for Iowa. 1 at first and 1 at second with 1 out. They've got 2 hits in this game so far. 1 in the first inning, and here's 1 in the second. Nick Lewis pitch. That's inside. Nearly hit the knee of Hennings, but that's going to be ball 1. So the count goes 1-1 against Hennings. In the game, first game of the series on Thursday, Hennings had 1 at-bat, and he was walked. Here's Nick Lewis pitch, and that's a strike. Good throw from Nick Lewis. 1 out in the inning for Washington State. They do have 2 foes on the bags. 1-2 pitch from Lewis. A little bit high. Fine stands up to catch it. Count goes to 2-2. And that one said it was 88 miles an hour, but the pitch radar has been maybe a little bit faulty, you think, in this series so far.
Well, that's what had been told to me by one pitcher.
This pitch is outside for the 3rd ball of the at-bat. The count goes full to 3-2. Hennings will tap the plate a couple of times. They do have 2 base runners on with 1 out. Here's a pitch from Lewis on a full count. Swing and a miss from Hennings, and he strikes him out. An excellent throw from Nick Lewis.
Yeah, that one looked like it was in the upper outer portion of the zone, up and out, up and away, and Henning was behind it.
And in the 9th spot for Iowa, Ben Swales will come up for his first look against Nick Lewis. Ben Swales is a speedster. He had a couple of attempted steals in this series. He's very, very quick. There's the first pitch and a strike against Ben Swales, the 3rd baseman for the Iowa Hawkeyes, ranked number 13.
And he's only had 7 at-bats this season. So we've been able to see some of that to this series.
Lewis pitch outside. Yeah, he started the first game, didn't play yesterday, but back in the lineup today. Iowa just really cycling through a lot of players to try to find something. Washington State's lineup's been pretty much the same this whole season. There's a strike to Swales, and the count goes to 1-2. And that's what Nathan Choate was talking about. He said this lineup is starting to kind of come into form, and they're really starting to play good baseball together. And even though they lost their first 8 games, they've won 2 in a row. And everything kind of gets fixed when you start winning. The pitch to Swales, swing and a miss. He goes down, and Iowa gets no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 base runners left on. Score still 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Logan Johnstone to lead it off for the Washington State Cougars in this inning. It's the bottom of the 2nd. Iowa leads it 1-0, and here we go from the bottom of the 2nd inning. Logan Johnstone, the left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Savary. Here's the first pitch to Johnstone, and it's high for ball number 1. Logan Johnstone, as we mentioned a couple of times in this series, he's still the only player to have a home run for Washington State. They just have 1 there. Currently ranked last in the entire country with home runs, just with 1, but that's not their style. And this is inside for ball number 2. We talked about it to Nathan Choate, and he said that that's not sometimes what's going to happen. So you got to be able to manufacture runs in other ways, and they've done that in this series, winning it 12-7 and then 7-4. Here's the pitch from Savary, the 2-0, and that's inside. That's another ball. So good job from Logan Johnstone. Good eye on this at-bat attempt. 3-0 the count against Savary.
It's a good reminder that you might not be the leadoff hitter. That's Max Hartman, but everybody becomes the leadoff hitter in some innings.
Right.
And you got to get on base.
Here's the 3-0 pitch, and that's ball number 4. And Logan Johnstone doesn't even swing once, and he gets on base, and that's a good strategy. Sometimes there's no need to swing at anything. You just watch it go by, and 4 straight balls from Savary to start this inning. And Gavin Roy, the shortstop, will come up to the plate now with the base runner on for Washington State. The leadoff hitters yesterday for Washington State, they were 4 of 9. That's a 444 percentage for the Washington State Cougars. Here's the first pitch from Savary. That's inside, nearly grazed the shoulder of Gavin Roy, but he turned away from it, and it's ball number 1 on Gavin Roy.
It's pretty noticeable what Iowa thinks that Roy may do, especially after yesterday. You see the third baseman playing at least 3-4 feet in on the grass, the synthetic grass.
Here's the pitch, and that's strike number 1 against Gavin Roy.
That was a nice bender.
Count goes to 1-1 with Johnstone at first base. Iowa leads it 1-0 in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Savary staring him down. Rising fire, swung on chopper to third base. Trying to turn 2, throw to Gable Mitchell. His throw to Wolf, and it is in time in the double play. Excellent play from Iowa, and the double play gets 2 runners out for Washington State.
Well, I got to tell you, had that ball been a hard ground ball, good chance that could have gotten past Swales. That was just a one chopper right to him. He was positioned perfectly for the bunt, but instead he got that ball early enough that he got the throw off to second early enough.
There's the first pitch from Savory to Luke Thiel, and that's a strike. Luke Thiel, the third baseman, batting 7th for Washington State in this game.
In the game of hit it where they ain't, that just came back against WSU.
0-1 pitch, high, goes for ball number 1. Luke Thiel got a walk yesterday, got a hit and an RBI, as well as a strikeout. An eventful day for the third baseman. Had a really nice catch as well. Here's a bunt shown down the third baseline. Swales come to grab it, fire to first base. It's high, and it goes over the head of Wolf, and Luke Thiel will stay at first as Gable Mitchell came all the way from second base to grab it off the foul territory wall. But Luke Thiel does get onto first base.
I think, we'll see what they give him. This is going to be a tough one. I mean, that was a tough play for the third baseman to make, but I think he sets his feet and throws it. There's a good chance that he gets Luke Thiel in this case. So he throws it away, but he didn't advance a base. So we'll see what they give.
Well,
looks like they give him a hit.
As fast as Ben Swales is, he probably could have just set his feet. He got there pretty quick. Here's the first pitch to Noah Thine, the catcher, in the 8th spot for Washington State. That first pitch is high for ball number 1, so count goes to 1-0. Noah Thine played in the Thursday game, started at catcher, he had an RBI, but struck out 3 times in that game. But here he is again against the Hawkeyes with a 1-0 count against him. 1 base runner on for Washington State. Logan Johnstone standing at first with the lead. Throw back from Savory to Wolf, and sorry, it's Thiel at first base, not Logan Johnstone. Still 1-0 against Thine with 2 outs and 1 runner on for Washington State. Here's a pitch from Savory. That's a strike. It was right down the middle against Thine. Luke Thiel getting instruction from the first base coach. 2 hits for both teams in this game so far. Washington State kind of matching Iowa, just not in that run department. They had 1 in the first and 1 in the second. Shown bunt from Thine, and Thiel gets back after the throw from Rogers. Count goes to 2-1 against Noah Thine. Still 2 outs for Washington State. No runs yet in this game. Didn't have their first run yesterday for a while. Trying to avoid getting down in too big of a hole. There's a throw from Savory. That's ball number 3. 3-1 the count against Noah Thine.
You're already hearing the boo birds come out.
They were loud yesterday. It seems like there's...
Yeah, we got our friend there, and I don't know what her name is. She looks like a lady I know named Deb, so we're going to call her Deb.
This pitch hits Noah Thine, and he's going to take first base on a hit by pitch.
So that's our friend Deb today.
Deb, which one is that?
right here. Was yelling pretty loud, by the way, and things that the FCC would not want to go over the airwaves if this was an actual tower with a electromagnetic spectrum being used, the airwaves that belong to the public. Some stuff you can't say on air.
Cole Watterson will come up with 2 outs, 2 runners on at first and second for Washington State. Here's the first pitch from Savory to Watterson, and that's a strike. The center fielder, Cole Watterson, yesterday had a hit, but 2 strikeouts in 5 at-bats. He had a really good day from the center field position on the defensive side, a couple of great plays, but he did watch one of those hits go over his head when Jackson Beeman had that home run, but there was really nothing he could have done about that, and that was pretty high up on that batter's eye.
Okay,
so they called the pitch clock violation on
the batter.
On the batter, Cole Watterson. And the count goes to 0-2, even though there was no pitch thrown. The pitch clock violation on Cole Watterson. So 0-2, the count with 2 outs, 2 runners on for Washington State. Here's a pitch from Savory, swing and a miss from Watterson, and that'll end the second inning with no runs scored from Washington State. 1 hit, no errors, and 2 runners left on first and second base. 1-0. Iowa leads it, and we'll go to the top of the third inning. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Iowa leads it 1-0 from La Moderna Field at Cleburne, Texas. And here with the third inning play-by-play, Brandon Chapman.
Thank you so much, Davis. And it's so good to be here with you. And I really appreciate you sharing the booth with me for this 4-game series. Top third of the order for Iowa coming up against Nick Lewis, the freshman, the lefty. Here's the wind and the delivery. And it's down low and inside. Bounces right in front of the catcher, Thine. The count 1-0. So Wilmus, then Mitchell, then Risley for the Hawkeyes. As Davis mentioned, the Hawkeyes wearing the black tops. They got the gray pants, the wind, and the 1-0. And that's a fastball outside corner. Excuse me, a change outside corner. Got ahead of myself. The count 1-1. On Wilmus. Lewis has been working that changeup today. The 1-1 is outside. Breaking ball, and the count goes to 2-1. The yellow shoes, though, are probably what, to me, stand out the most predominant feature for the Hawkeyes. Here's the wind and the 2-1. There's a line drive hit to right field. Logan Johnstone coming up fast. Does he make the catch? He does! One more time, Johnstone with the dive and the catch out in right field. Oh, Mercy did it yesterday in the 8th inning. Does it one more time to lead off the top of the 3rd. So a great diving stop by Logan Johnstone. 1 down here in the top of the 3rd. So yesterday, that's what led to the little bit of a skirmish, some hurt feelings, I guess, as Mitchell steps in, takes the first one, and off speed fouls it down. Count at 0-1. And it was the man at the plate, in fact, as he was put out by Johnstone with the dive, slammed his helmet down, and somebody said something to someone. And that's usually how they start, as the next one, the 0-1, popped up to right field, shallow. In is Johnstone, underneath it, and he makes the catch 2 away. And in the end, with just some chirping, the umpires got together, they talked, they warned both teams. No teams ever want to be warned, so we saw in that situation maybe a little bit different of a tone, a little more tense, but it was the 8th inning. We had not a whole lot of baseball left to be played, which sometimes is dice in that situation. Fastball delivered to Miles Risley over for a strike, and the count at 0-1. Risley, his first at-bat, grounded out in the top of the 1st inning. There in the 1st, that's when Iowa scored their run, as the next one delivered outside, and the count goes to 1-1. So the Hawkeyes lead it 1-0. Top of the 3rd, 1-1 count on Risley. Lewis working quick, back with the 1-1, and slow, ball 2-1 the count. Home plate umpire Jeff Minton today, a very demonstrative strike call when he He does call it in a little less of a delay than we've had the last 2 days, as the 2-1 misses outside, ball 3-1 the count. First base umpire, Matthew Hansen, Sal Giacomontonio at second, and Cale Smith, the third base umpire. So we saw Giacomontonio and Smith both with quite the delay as the 3-1 misses. So a 2-out walk, Miles Risley trots down to first base. But today, Jeff Minton, the home plate umpire, aside from the demonstrative call that I mentioned, he does it quickly. He sees it, he calls it. Now, when you umpire, of course, they say it's better to get the call right than fast. And so for some umpires, they pause to think about it for a second. So with that, Caleb Wolf to the plate, pickoff throw from Lewis over to first base, and Risley slides back head first. Caleb grounded out to short in the top of the first inning. One of 2 nice plays by Gavin Roy, back-to-back plays there in the top of the first. Lewis thought about going home. Instead, one more time, goes over to first base. Wolf 4 hits yesterday, including a double, 3 RBI. Coming into today, an astounding 1.159 OPS, if that means anything to you. For some people, it really doesn't. As here's the wind and the delivery. Fastball inside. Ball 1-1-0 the count. In the bottom of the third, the Cougs will be right back to the top of their order as well with Hartman, Obenauer, and Schansby. Just a glorious day here in Cleburne. As Lewis back with the next delivery, and the 1-0 misses high, ball 2-0 the count. This is one of those stadiums when you walk in above the playing surface and it just drops right down. Affectionately called the Pasta Bowl. And there's a reason that is. Here's the wind in the 2-0. Fought off the hands and right over to our left, up to the little area that is kind of a picnic type. Nice place to drink. That's what it looks like everybody's doing, just having a beer.
It's very nice up there. We went up there and
Little patio.
Yeah, it's a really good view of the field.
Yeah, it's right outside when I say the clubhouse, I don't mean the ones that the players are in, but it's a clubhouse, a bar, dining area. As another pickoff over to first. Just to our left. Here's the wind in the 2-1. Fought off the hands again, and this time over the roof, though. And the count is 2-2. I think I might have said 2-0, but 2-2 the count now. Called the Pasta Bowl because La Moderna, the pasta company, started sponsoring this team and then earned the naming rights to the stadium in 2022. The 2-2. Fastball misses outside, and the count goes full to Wolf. So it's a 1-0 Hawkeyes lead with 2 outs and Miles Risley on at first base. They actually started in 2021 with a fireworks sponsorship. They did the Friday fireworks. There goes the runner. Pitch is a slow ground ball hit to Schansby at first. He'll pick up the ball and take it to the bag himself for the out. Here in the top of the third inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We go to the bottom of the third, 1-0 Iowa. just like Iowa had in the top of the third inning. Here in the bottom of the third, the Cougs start with the top third of their lineup. Hope you're having a great afternoon. Iowa leads at 1-0. Max Hartman will step in from the left-hand side for the Cougars, wearing their frosty whites today. It's hot weather, but frosty whites. Just a delightful uniform. I like them all, man. I like the pennies. I really like the whites, though. The first delivery from Savary is outside, 1-0 the count. Hartman struck out in the bottom of the first inning, came into the game batting .378 with a couple doubles. The wind and the delivery, the 1-0, and that's a breaking ball. Dropped it in. The count 1-1. That was a great first game for Hartman in this series with 4 hits. Here's Savary, the wind, and the 1-1. Oh, up and in, hits him in the shoulder.
Dang.
He'll toss the bat away. Kind of looks out toward the pitcher, but now trots to first.
That was right on the meat of the shoulder. You could hear that one all the way up here. That was a good take from Hartman.
So with 1 on, Ollie Obenauer will come to the plate. Obenauer grounded out his first trip up. As Rogers, the catcher for Iowa, will go out in front of the plate, and he'll call out the plays. 1-0 Iowa, bottom of the third. Hartman without too big of a lead at first. Savary, glove down around the belt, wheels and deals, and that one came up and in and hits Obenauer on the left shoulder. So back-to-back hit by pitches puts the first 2 runners aboard. And at this point, if you are head coach Rick Heller or a pitching coach Sean Kenny, you just want to make sure your pitcher's they're not rattled, basically, at this point. It's not missing the zone by much. It's missing it a lot. Want to thank you if you're listening into this on either our YouTube stream or the new Mixlr. Mixlr. Here's the wind and the pitch to Shansby, high and outside. 1-0 the count. 2 aboard. You're in the bottom of the third inning. 1-0 Iowa, but Cougs knocking on the door. And sure enough, Sean Kenny, the pitching coach, in his first season with Iowa, he played himself at Eastern Michigan way back in the late 90s, but he's coming out to talk to his pitcher, Aaron Savary, get him settled down a little bit. We have seen Savary with occasionally having some control things. He's got some stuff, 16 strikeouts on the year, but the 8 walks. If you look over what he did in his first 2 outings, the first one against South Florida, he went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits and 2 runs, only walked 2, but he struck out 10. So he had some runners on, not a whole lot. They came around to score, but 10 strikeouts. His last outing against Stetson, he went 5 1/3, only gave up 1 hit. And he struck out 6, but he walked 6. So he does have some control or command issues. I think control and command are not necessarily the same thing. But here with a 1-0 count on Shansby is Kenny back to his spot in the dugout. Here's the wheel and the deal. There's a fastball high and outside.
They're talking about Sean Kenny and how he's from Houston as well as Georgia, those 2 programs, an SEC school and now a Big 12 program. That's some good programs that he's been at, so he knows his stuff.
Long look at second, the 2-0 from Savary. Fastball right at the knees, and the count at 2-1. But we thank you if you're listening in on either YouTube or Mixlr, and encourage you to go ahead and use that chat feature. Let us know who you are and where you're listening from. Either one of them has a chat feature. Savary looks in, gets the signs from his battery mate. The wind instead is a turnaround. After the turnaround, there was no throw. Look again, the 2-1. Breaking ball, nice one. You could tell that Shansby thought it was a little high. It probably was, but taken for a strike, 2-2. Those are the ones you swing at if you do get contact, sometimes you're going to pop it up. Not one that he wants. Wearing 1-9 on the back, a little shimmy at the plate. So the bounces up and down. 2-2, the count even. Here's the wheel and the deal. Runners going. And coming into third base, Max Hartman slides around the tag. Boy, that throw beat Hartman by a long ways. And Swales went to go apply the tag. And it looks like Hartman went right around it. And it looks to me like Rick Heller is going to want to talk to the third base umpire, Cale Smith, and get his opinion. And that's it. He hears what the umpire saw, and he turns around and he's walking back to third base. So in this game, there's no replay, anything of that nature, but 2 stolen bases. Hartman takes second, and Hartman takes third. Obenauer takes second. And so a full count here on Schansby. The wind, the 3-2. That's inside, and it hits Schansby, and they're going to say dead ball. We're sending him back. You see Hartman was halfway to the plate. Hartman was thinking, if they don't call that a hit batter, it'd be a wild pitch.
Right. He was ready to go. That's a good job by Hartman. Heads up play, but then does get told to go back. But now 3 base runners on, all hit by pitch.
Bases loaded, all hit by pitch. 3 hit batters. And that'll bring up Griffin Myers. So this is what you bring in Griffin for his slugging ability. As Savary, ground ball. 1 hopper, hit to the second baseman. Second for 1. The relay to first base is in time for the double play. So that's going to be a 4-6-3. The only question on that one was the turn going to be able to be completed, as Mitchell's throw to Schulte was on the wrong side. But he was Schulte, to get it over to first base. So on the play, Hartman comes in to score to tie the game. On the double play ball, no RBI given to Griffin Myers, and Obenauer reaches third. So runner on at third, 2 down. As the first pitch to John Stone outside, 1-0 the count. John Stone walked his first trip up to the plate. Here's the wind and the pitch. That ball bounces in front of Rogers, kicks up about 6-7 feet up the first base line, but Obenauer not going anywhere. So 2-0 the count. This is where Savary really needs to find some stuff. Needs to dig deep. Here's the 2-0. And that one's high and outside with the breaking ball. The count 3-0 wasn't even close. Here at the Pasta Bowl in Cleburne, La Moderna Field. Savary comes set. And the 3-0. Breaking ball. That was an interesting one. Came with a breaking ball at 3-0. Thinking just in case Johnstone was going to go on the 3-0, knowing that it was a fastball coming right down the pipe. But Johnstone had the hold sign the whole time. Just going to wait. Red light. Ground ball hit. 2-hopper hit to the first baseman. Taking it over to the first base himself for the out. So here in the bottom of the third inning, the Cougs do score 1 run on not a single hit, 3 hit batters, and they do leave 1 left on. We go to the 4th, tied at 1. Jackson Beeman strides to the plate. Daniel Rogers will be after him, and then Cooper Schulte, kind of the middle part of the order for the Hawkeyes, a 1-1 game. And for the play-by-play, here's Davis.
1-1 game indeed. Washington State tied it up in that bottom of the third inning. Here's a pitch from Lewis. Beeman will smack this one way deep left center field, and that one is gone again. Jackson Beeman with an absolute blast once again over the top of Cole Watterson. Nick Lewis gives up this home run, in Iowa with back-to-back games with a home run, and they both come from Jackson Beeman, and it's 2-1 Hawkeyes.
And both of those to lead off an inning, as yesterday Beeman ended up hitting one in the bottom of the fourth, and today in the top of the fourth inning. So his second at-bat in both cases, that's his at-bat. He's seen the pitcher once, has another chance, but yesterday was right to center field off that batter's eye. This one, it just kept carrying, and I don't see that there's a lot of wind, but it just got up there, majestic home run.
He got a hold of that one. And so here's a pitch from Lewis with Daniel Rogers coming back up, the catcher, who got a base on balls in the second inning. And so Iowa takes the 2-1 lead after the Beeman home run. Here's a ground ball to Gavin Roy, fields it, and a couple bounces, and it's in time. Great lunge from Shonsby to get that ball, and Daniel Rogers not fast enough. And a great play from Gavin Roy as well. And they get the first out of the inning. So Iowa once again with the lead after that good hit from Beeman. Brings up Cooper Schulte after the Rogers out. Here's the delivery from Lewis. That's strike number one to Cooper Schulte, the shortstop, who got a single past the shortstop in the first at-bat of the game in the second inning. Here's a hit towards second base. Ollie Obenauer has trouble fielding it, but gets it and fires it to first base, and it's in time with the second out of the inning.
Yeah, it just bounced off the glove, but it was right there in front of him. That's why they teach you to get that glove down. Use your body if you need, so you don't field it cleanly, but it's right there. Picked it up. Was able to have the time at second to throw to first.
That'll bring up Connor Hennings in the 8th spot for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So after giving up the home run, they get consecutive outs. Here's a pitch from Lewis. First delivery to Hennings. This is a chopper foul. And the count goes to 0-1 against Connor Hennings. Again, did not play yesterday. Started the first game at left field. And here he is today as the designated hitter for Iowa. The 0-1 pitch and a swing and a miss. So he fouled the first pitch. Swing and a miss there. And the count goes to 0-2 with 2 outs. Nobody on for Iowa. They do lead it 2-1. Here's a pitch from Lewis. Bounces. Fine, gets in front of it, though. Count goes to 1-2. Hawkeyes now have the advantage in the hitting department. They've got 3. Washington State just has 2. Here's a pitch from Lewis to Hennings. It's a little bit high. Hennings watches it go by. Hennings, the senior right-handed batter, 6'2" from Tiffin, Iowa. He is one of those players that is from Iowa. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Lewis. Swing and a miss from Hennings, and that will end the inning. Iowa gets 1 run on the home run from Beeman. Nobody left on base and no errors, and we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Washington State down by 1 run. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. After the home run from Beeman, Iowa took the 2-1 advantage. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It's Gavin Roy to lead off the inning with Luke Thiel and Noah Thine coming up next for Washington State. And Gavin Roy steps into the batter's box, still against Aaron Savory, who hit 3 batters in the previous inning. And here's the rise and fire. That's a little bit high. Gavin Roy takes ball 1 against Savory. We were chatting there at the break about how we maybe were a little surprised that Iowa didn't end up switching pitchers. They went out to meet with Savory in the last inning. He hit 3 batters, was kind of losing control of the ball. And here's the 1-0 pitch. And that's strike 1 against Roy.
Well, and we don't see anybody at this point warming up either. Just needed to get, 90% of the game is half mental, as we quoted. What was it yesterday? I couldn't remember if it was Yogi Berra or Casey Stengel.
Well, then Mike came in and said it was something completely different. There's the second ball of the at-bat for Gavin Roy.
Not that one. It was if you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Oh, exactly. All these could apply. 2-1 pitch. Gavin Roy will swing, and the ball is rolling. And picked up by Wolf, and it's foul. So count goes to 2-2.
Well, and on that one, there was so much spin. Gavin Roy had to bust out of the box because it could have easily gone back fair.
Yeah, saw that the other day in a baseball game. They hit it, and it rolled about 10 feet behind the first base, or in the first base foul line, then came back in, and the base runner ended up getting to first base.
Yeah, those are the ones that if you're a defensive player and you see that they're not hustling, you let it go fair and get the out. If they are hustling, grab it foul.
Here's a pitch from Savory on a 2-2 swing and a miss from Roy, and he goes down swinging for the first out of the inning.
Boy, I'll tell you, Savoy's off-speed stuff has been devastating today.
Savory came into this game with 16 strikeouts. And that's the first out of this inning with the strikeout. Thiel will come up, the third baseman for Washington State, batting in the 7th spot for the Cougars. Pitch and a swing and a high fly ball out towards first base. Wolf is under it for an out.
That one kind of popped into the palm and almost came out. Cougs will run out anything because you never know what happens, but held on to it with that big mitt. You look at him looking down at the mitt, going, geez, where did that hit?
Noah Thine coming up with 2 outs, nobody on for Washington State.
And this is the kind of inning that Savory really needed for Iowa. Hopefully a quick inning for him,
Here's a pitch from Savory against Thine, and that's a strike right down the middle. Count goes to 0-1 with 2 outs, nobody on. Washington State down by 1 run after the Beeman home run in the top of the 4th inning.
Of course, for the Cougs, hopefully for them, we see that command issue.
Pitch from Savory, and that's outside, right on cue.
Yeah, now I'm not a catcher, but I will tell you that I think a lot of umpires, you try to frame it too aggressively, they're not going to give you the call, right? There's some nuance to it, and you saw Rogers take that and really yank it up.
Would you say they start catching on?
Wow.
This pitch is a strike. Count goes to 1-2.
I'm just pointing out for our listening audience, Davis's birthday is Tuesday, yet he already has, and he's only going to be 20 years old, but he already has dad humor. He's a punny man.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Thine. And he swings and chops this one up towards the pitcher's mound, and Savory will fire to first base, and it's in time, and that will end the inning. So no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base for Washington State, and we go to the top of the 5th inning. 2-1, Iowa has the lead. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. And here comes Ben Swales for the Iowa Hawkeyes as we start the top of the 5th inning. Hawkeyes lead it 2-1. Here's a pitch from Lewis. A bunt shown from Swales. Pops up, and it is dropped by the catcher, Noah Thine. He almost had that one, but it bounced off the glove, rolled around a little bit off the wrist, and it drops to the floor. Here at La Moderna Field, the Pasta Bowl, as Chappie was mentioning earlier. Count goes to 0-1 against Swales as he tried to bunt that one up. It just popped up right over home plate. Thine almost was able to catch that. And so Swales will tap the plate a couple of times and get ready for the 0-1 pitch from Lewis. And here's the delivery. Swing and foul ball. So count goes to 0-2 against Ben Swales. As we mentioned, he's a quick player for the Iowa Hawkeyes. 4 of 7 this year. Here's the pitch from Lewis. And that's high for Ben Swales. And that's ball number 1. So count goes to 1-2 against Swales with that first pitch. Almost got by Thine, but couldn't quite handle it. And here's the pitch, and that's outside. Count goes to 2-2. Delivery from Lewis on a 2-2 pitch is outside for ball number 3 against Swales. So we got up 0-2 and then 3 consecutive balls for Nick Lewis.
These are really the innings, Davis, when you just want to make sure.
And a strikeout looking. Swales thought he had a ball, and instead it's Nick Lewis delivering a strikeout looking to Ben Swales.
Make sure you absolutely get through. These are the critical innings. These are the ones where you're right there. You know, it could go either way. You're getting tired. Do I lose my command, or do I bear down? Do I get the outs? Do I let my defense do their job?
Well, we were talking yesterday about Jake Tedesco, who didn't make it through the 5 innings. Yesterday, Griffin Smith did, and this is an important juncture in this game, as there's a first pitch against Ben Wilmus, the top of the order for the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's a ball. Count goes to 1-0 against Ben Wilmus. So the bottom of the order to start the inning, and now back to the top for the Hawkeyes. Here's a pitch from Lewis on a 1-0, and that will be low for ball number 2. 1 out, nobody on. Hawkeyes lead it 2-1, and they also have the advantage in the hitting department. 3 hits to Washington State's just 2. Here's a pitch from Lewis. That's a good pitch right down the middle for a strike.
Now, Wilmus is, he had the red light on that one. 2-0 is a good hitter's pitch, but obviously was taken the whole way. Wilmus is such a dangerous hitter.
Here's a pitch from Lewis, and Wilmus will hit that one, and it gets past Gavin Roy on a dive attempt, and it goes out to Cole Watterson in center field, and a base hit for Ben Wilmus.
That was one of those, I promise you, if Gavin Roy makes the stop, he has no play at first base anyway.
That was a good hit from Wilmus. And Gable Mitchell will come up.
And not only that, but Wilmus, the 1 out was that fly ball or line drive, I should say, to right field in the top of the 3rd that Logan Johnstone made the diving catch on. So he's hit everything very well.
Here's a pitch to Gable Mitchell. That's outside for ball number 1. And if that name Gable sounds familiar, it's because his grandfather is Dan Gable, the Olympic gold medalist wrestler. And he coached at Iowa for 15 seasons and 15 NCAA titles.
No kidding.
So it is a proud family, the Mitchells and the Gables.
You get your Iowas, your Michigans, talk about some wrestling schools.
Yeah. The Midwest, very good at wrestling. And Dan Gable, the Olympic wrestler, definitely is a good person to look up to, as that pitch hits Gable Mitchell right in the back, and he shrugs it off, and he'll take first base. Wilmus will go to second on a hit by pitch.
That ball was square right in the middle of the back.
And that'll have 2 runners on for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
So Thine has gone out to the mound to settle down Nick Lewis. A double play ball gets him out of this.
There is 1 out in the inning, so they can still avoid a lot of damage. And look, Nick Lewis has done a really good job today. So is Noah Thine, and trying to lock in here at the, as Chappie mentioned, critical juncture of this game. You're in the top of the 5th inning. They've got one out. Iowa's got 2 base runners on. They got Mitchell at first base and Wilmus at second base. And the center fielder, Risley, up to bat. Lewis with the pitch. That's a good pitch. Strike number 1 against Miles Risley, who got a base on balls in the 3rd inning and had a ground out in the 1st inning. That was the 2nd out of that inning. 0-1 count against Risley. Here's a pitch from Lewis. Swing up, hit down to second base. Obenauer will fire to Roy, running, and will pump fake to first base. And so they get Mitchell out, but runners in the corners for Iowa.
There was only one opportunity or one thing that could have happened. One possibility is what I meant to say. And that's that two possibilities, really. He makes a good throw, and it's late anyway, or the possibility I was thinking of at first is you throw it away. So a wise job by Roy to hang on to that. And we're going to get a mound visit from Nathan Choate, but without anybody warming up in the bullpen.
Probably just want to make sure that Nick Lewis is in the right mindset. I talked to him about what he said to Gavin Roy yesterday when they had the offensive meeting, and he was talking about how he knows that his guys have replicated a lot of things in practice, and he wanted to make sure that they do it in the game. And just to get their mindset right, he told Gavin Roy that he didn't want him chasing those pitches, and he knew that he had made a mistake, and he just wanted to make sure that Roy was in the right headspace. And he told him to just go out and hit the ball as hard as he could. And then what happened? Gavin Roy hit it as hard as he could. So I can only imagine that at this point, Choate's probably telling Nick Lewis to do exactly what he wants to do, and then just go out there and do it. And now he'll head back to the dugout. Fairly quick meeting, but Iowa does have runners in the corners with just 1 hit in this inning with Wilmus. Now it was his hit, and he's advanced all the way to third base after Risley's base hit.
Right, and that was a mound visit, but you notice that Iowa also used their offensive timeout on that. So they both got charged with one, because just because they're on the mound doesn't mean you get to all congregate as hitters and base runners.
Caleb Wolf up to bat for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and a throw to first base. Risley gets back, and he's safe, and no pitches yet to Caleb Wolf, who had a good day yesterday. He was a round out in the 3rd inning, and here's a bunt shown. Lewis trying to track it down, and it will roll to nobody but Obenauer, and Risley moves to second. Wolf gets to first. And then it's Wilmus who will score for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Well, Caleb Wolf hit the ball well yesterday. And here it just goes to show that you don't have to send a blistering ball into the gap to be effective. Wolf, that was about as light of anything as we've ever seen him hit. But it worked.
And Nick Lewis tried to track it down. It went just past him, and Obenauer ended up scooping it up, but there was no play to be made at the plate, and Iowa takes the 3-1 lead.
I never thought I'd see an RBI bunt single from Caleb Wolf.
Here's a pitch from Lewis, and Jackson Beeman is back up, who hit the home run in the 4th inning, and he swings and misses at the first pitch. He is really feeling it. He wants another one. 2 base runners on for Iowa. Here's the pitch from Lewis, a little bit high. That ball number 1.
That bunt isn't better than that if it instead heads toward Lewis at the mound. I mean, you get out 3. Had to be done just the way he did it.
Perfect placement, exactly. Chopper from Beeman, and Thine will pick it up. Throw to first base is in time. Yes, it is. And Shonsby with a good catch, and they get Beeman out, and that will end the inning. So Iowa scores a run. They get 2 hits in the inning, no errors. And 2 runners left on base for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Will go to the bottom of the 5th inning. 3-1. Hawkeyes lead it. Cole Watterson will step up for the Washington State Cougars in the bottom of the 5th inning. They're down 3-1 at La Moderna Field, home of the Cleburne Railroaders, in this 4-game series against the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is game number 3. Washington State won the first 2. Pitch from Savory, bunt shown from Watterson, sprinting towards first base. Swales comes to grab it, throws it to first base, and it's in time. And they get Watterson out. He was hustling down the first baseline, but just the throw faster than Watterson could move his legs.
Yeah, we've seen a few now right there to that side. And Savory, I mean, he's shown his ability to field. On that one, he had to get called off by Swales, but we saw the last play of the bottom of the 4th when he fielded that play, that little nubber by Noah Thine.
Pitch from Savory to Max Hartman, the top of the order for Washington State. That's strike number 1 on Max Hartman, who scored a run, the only run for Washington State in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Got on base by being hit in the shoulder. It was a hard pitch. Swing and a miss from Hartman. Second strike. 0-2 the count against Max Hartman. No base runners on for Washington State. 1 out. They're down by 2 runs at the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's a pitch from Savory to Hartman. Fouled off back left. And so this count stays at 0-2. Good news is over on that left side, there's really no parking lot over there, so cars probably aren't going to be getting dinged up.
Over on that side, it's the staff parking.
That's okay.
That's a job hazard. That's just a hazard of the job.
Pitch from Savory low in the dirt. That's a ball. Fake dirt, that is. The turf, full turf field except for the pitcher's mound. It's a dirt pitcher's mound, and the rest of it's turf.
Habits in baseball, I always think it's funny when a hitter gets up and starts swiping around like it's dirt.
Pitch from Savory. Outside. Count goes to 2-2 against Max Hartman. And yesterday you asked about the outfield that's a little bit different tone, and that's just because it's older.
It's worn out. They didn't have the money to do the whole thing, so they started with the infield.
Pitch from Savory. Swing and a miss from Hartman, and he goes down swinging. Second out of the inning. And has many batters.
Yeah. I mean, you saw with the 1-2, barely missed on the outside portion of the plate. It was a good miss. You hope that he of course chases after it. In that case, just a little bit closer to the strike zone.
Ollie Obenauer up to bat. Pitch from Savory is a strike to Ollie Obenauer, the second baseman, who also got on base in that 3rd inning by a hit by pitch.
Savory seems to have settled down a little bit.
0-1 pitch from Savory. Swing and a miss from Obenauer. And he's got the entire Washington State batting staff, their number at this point. He's done a good job in this inning.
Well, they're on their heels swinging on these breaking balls.
Here's the 0-2 pitch with 2 outs. And it's a
Just
ball.
Tiny bit low. I mean, that was close. But you sit back, you wait for that breaking ball, and they're out front.
1-2 pitch from Savory. Nobody on. 2 outs. Here's a delivery. And that is strike number 3. Obenauer goes down looking. And so no runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. They go 3 up, 3 down in this bottom of the 5th. We'll go to the top of the 6th inning. It's 3-1. Iowa has the lead. 3-1 advantage for the Iowa Hawkeyes against the Washington State Cougars in game 3 of 4. And here with the top of the 6th inning, it's Brandon Chapman.
Well, thank you so much, Davis. Bottom third +1 for Iowa Hawkeyes, as they'll be the 6th, 7th, and 8th hitters due up. Daniel Rogers, Cooper Schulte, and Connor Hennings. 3-1 the Hawkeyes lead. As already standing out there, Nick Lewis ready, eyes peering over the glove, just waiting for Rogers to get into the batter's box. Now Rogers steps in. Here's the wind, and the pitch by Lewis is outside in the dirt, 1-0. Well, we've seen a kind of a tale of two pitchers where Aaron Savary struggled with his command, but has had a 1-2-3 inning the last two. The 1-0, and that misses with the off speed just a little bit high. Ball 2-0 the count. And Nick Lewis, I thought he's pitched rather well for the first three, but has struggled in the last couple. The next one, half swing, and it's fouled off to the left. The count goes to 2-1 on Daniel Rogers. Wonderful day in Cleburne. The flags are right up against the pole. We've seen as the 2-1 misses low, ball 3-1 the count. In the past couple days, we've seen them blowing. Day one, of course, was blowing pretty fierce. Here's the 3-1, and that ball is low. So a 5-pitch walk to Daniel Rogers to lead off the top of the 6th inning, and that'll bring up Cooper Schulte. And now we've got some action in the bullpen for the Cougars. So we'll take a look and see if we can figure out who that is. Just getting up to throw. I'll have Davis do that. So Schulte with a single and a ground out today. Sends a first pitch foul down the first base side. Long run for Shonsby. He's going to run out of room as it lands right there on the grassy hill to the right. And the count 0-1. So for those of you who have not been to this stadium, and I assume that our listeners have not, the Pasta Bowl, La Moderna Field, just give you an idea of the layout here. It says it seats 1,750, and potentially because they're all seat backs. Here's the wind, and the 0-1 instead is a toss over to first base. To our left, we're kind of in the second tier here. You've got the luxury boxes, so to speak. There's 3 or 4 of them to our left and about 4 or 5 of them to our right. Here's the wind and the 0-1, and that's change outside. Ball 1-1 the count. Then there's the patio that we talked about earlier where people can have an adult beverage, which sits just outside the dining area. Here's the 1-1. There's a breaking ball that's high and outside, and the count 2-1. The grassy areas are on both sides from the seating, which ends just a section after both of the dugouts. And then the grass goes all the way over to the foul pole. There's a ground ball hit, one hopper. Hit to third. Thiel's only play is to first base, and he makes the out over there after a check of the runner. And realizing he was not going to get Rogers, he goes to first for the out. So on the play, Rogers does go to second base, and Connor Hennings will be due up. There is a picnic area on the main concourse that's down, mid outfield to the left. And we don't see as many people out there today as we do here on the patio above us. And we've got a pinch hitter, it looks like, coming up to the plate. So rather than it be Connor Hennings, we're going to see Mitch Wood come to the plate. So we'll write that here in the scorebook. Mitch Wood coming up to pinch hit for Connor Hennings with 1 on, 1 out, top of the 6th inning, and Iowa leading 3-1. Here's Lewis, wheels and deals. Strike, taken at the knees, and the count at 0-1. Now, the outfield is interesting because you've got a solid fence all the way from the left field foul pole around to just beyond center field. The wind and the pitch is breaking ball outside, well outside, count 1-1. And that's where it's a half wall with above it kind of a fence, a see-through, like a chain link hurricane type fence. You still have the yellow border on top signifying the home run marker. Here's the wind and the 1-1. And that's outside. and high, and the count goes to 2-1. Here's the wind and the 2-1. There's a ground ball, chopper hit up the middle. That's going to be through for a base hit, so that's probably going to score another run. Here's going to be a throw to the plate. It's going to be cut off, and a very awkward slide by Daniel Rogers. Big boy hit the ground, and I got to tell you, I'm feeling the vibrations up here in the box. He came in hard, and you can see getting a little razzing from some of his teammates. He went in for the head first slide, and he didn't slide a whole lot as he did barrel roll. But Iowa adds another run here on the base hit up the middle by Mitch Wood. He did his job as a pinch hitter, got the single. So an RBI single by him puts it at 4-1. And that'll bring up Ben Swales, who's struck out his only 2 times to the plate. Here's a pickoff move. And I think the reason, Davis, for the half fence is because you can see into the bullpen. You can see who's warming up. First, you have the home side on the left, and then on the right-hand side, more into right center field, you've got the visitors as the first pitch is over for a strike. Hear the Boo Birds coming out. Here's the wind and the 0-1. Swing and a miss. That was well outside the zone, and Swales was flailing at that one. Then there's a solid wall, again, for about 30 feet. And it juts way in, and then completely from ground all the way up, a big wall again. Winding the pitch is outside in the dirt. Nice block by Thine. And Mitch Wood not going anywhere. Count 1-2. So you have full visibility from there all the way over to from right center down to the right field foul pole. And that's what they call the fun area, the fun zone, the play area, the wind and the pitch. There's a ground ball, 2-hopper. Grabbed by Thiel at third base, the throw to second. He gets the out there. No chance to get anybody at first base. That was a nice play by Thiel, ranging to his right. But even that amount of time as he had to cover that distance meant pretty much there was not going to be a play at first base. And it looks like that's going to be it as Nathan Choate comes out of the dugout. He's going to make the call to the bullpen. Trevor Stowe is coming in for the Cougars. So we will take a quick break here just to let you know we're in the top of the 6th inning with 2 outs and a pitcher coming in for Iowa leading at 4-1. Back to the top of the order for Iowa as Trevor Stowe comes on in relief for Washington State, the sophomore out of Wyoming. He will relieve Nick Lewis, who did an admirable job today. Here's the wind in the pitch. It's a fastball low, and the count starts off to Wilmus at 1-0. Hawkeyes scored 1 in the first, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and now thus far 1 in the sixth. But that's what Stowe's doing, is trying to stop it at that. Here's Stowe. The wind in the 1-0 is high. Ball 2, 2-0 the count. We saw this yesterday. Relief pitcher came in, and the first thing did through 4-pitch walk. And that's been sort of prevalent throughout the season, as relievers coming in and immediately issuing the free pass. Ben Swales at first base. The wind in the 2-0 is low and outside, or low and inside, and the count goes to 3-0. Wilmus doubled and scored in the first, singled and scored in the fifth, and was robbed by Logan Johnstone on the line drive in the third. 4-1 Iowa leads. Here's the wind and the delivery. It's up high. 4-pitch walk. So another inauspicious start for a relief pitcher. And now with 2 on and 2 out, Gable Mitchell will be the hitter. Mitchell took one right in the back last time. Plunked him good. Stowe, a transfer from the College of the Desert in Palm Springs, California. Redshirted his freshman year, and then last year played the year with the College of the Desert. Fastball taken for a strike by Gable Mitchell, 0-1 the count. Had some success there at the College of the Desert, was named a Junior College All-American and first-team All-Inland Empire Athletic Conference. Here's the 0-1, and it misses. Struck out 105 in 78 2/3. So he had pretty good stuff, and it was definitely overpowering for that conference. As here's Stowe, the right-hander, looks out at second base. The wind in the 1-1. There's a ground ball chopper hit foul, first base side. And the count 1-2. So notwithstanding the 4-pitch walk given up by Stowe to Ben Wilmus, has a chance to get out of this inning. And then we can close the book on Nick Lewis, who had made his third start of the season. Because Swales still belongs to him. The wind of the pitch. Down low. Ball 2, 2-2 to the count. And Wilmus, of course, belongs to Trevor Stowe. 4-1 Iowa. Top of the sixth inning. Still a lot of baseball to play. Coug bats need to get going. But let's first get out of this half inning. Here's the wind in the 2-2. That's inside, and it hits Mitchell. That second time been hit by a pitch. And just interestingly enough, where did it get him? On the arm? On the hip? Well, the limp tells you it is on the leg, the hip or the leg. Remember, Gable Mitchell was the one that lined out yesterday and created the
little.
We're not going to. It didn't reach brouhaha status.
No, but there was some words.
And it looks like that's going to be it. So Trevor Stowe's day is done as he walks Ben Wilmus, and then Gable Mitchell comes in, and he had him, but loses him. So bases are loaded now here in the top of the sixth with 2 outs. Iowa leads at 4-1, and when we come back, we'll give you the information on the pitcher. Well, Trevor Stowe comes out of the bullpen for the Cougars, walks a hitter and hits a batter, and now coming into at bat, Miles Risley, head coach Nathan Choate says, "Hey, we're gonna make a change here. We're gonna go a righty-righty matchup and bring in Gabe Schneider." Bases loaded, 4-1 Iowa. The wind in the pitch. There's a fastball low. 1-0 the count. Nobody else warming up in the bullpen. Here's the wind in the pitch. Swung on, popped up. Left side. Roy over it into foul ground. He's underneath it, makes the catch. So just like that, Gabe Schneider comes in. He gets the job done. 1 run does come across for Iowa. At the end of 5.5, it's Hawkeyes 4, Cougars 1. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Iowa leads at 4-1. Shawnsby will step in for the Cougs, who were able to stop or stymie the possibility of Iowa scoring more than just the 1. They do lead at 4-1. As still out on the bump, Aaron Savary for the Hawkeyes. Deals to Shawnsby. It's upstairs, a little outside. The count 1-0. There's only 2 batters that Nathan Choate allowed Stowe to pitch to. I thought there were 2 people warming up there in the bullpen, but it turns out it was just the 1. It was Schneider who came in. Here's the wind in the pitch. The 1-0 is fouled to our left over our heads, and the count 1-1. And so after he took Stowe out, I thought he chose Schneider to remain with the righty-righty matchup, which they of course would have had with Stowe. But then as it turns out, there wasn't a left-hander warming up. So he only had the one choice. Here's the wind and the delivery. It's low, ball 2, 2-1 the count. Shawnsby singled up the middle, and he was hit by a pitch. Savary, the wind. Here's the 2-1. There's another foul ball hit to our left over the little picnic area, and the count evens at 2. Well, Savary has really settled down. He gave up a hit in the first and the second, had also walked some hitters, and then had the 3 hit batters in the bottom of the 3rd, but the last 2 innings have gone 1, 2, 3 in each of them. Here's the wind in the 2-2. That's outside, ball 3, 3-2 the count. So as we get into this stage of the ball game, you can guarantee that the Cougars are hoping the Savary they get is like the first few innings with some command issues. Here's the wind, the 3-2. It's a breaking ball high. So Shawnsby will trot down to first base, draws the walk, leadoff walk, and we'll see how much leeway, how much rope that head coach Rick Heller gives to his starting pitcher. Of course, Rick Heller, nobody can argue with the job that he's done at the University of Iowa. He's led the Iowa Hawkeyes to, on average, coming into this year, 32 wins per season. Advanced to 3 NCAA regionals and claimed the first Big Ten tournament title in program history. So he's done a fantastic job. We got a pinch hitter now. Looks like Eli Kennel is the pinch hitter for the Cougars. The wind and the pitch. Kennel sends the first one, a chopper, over toward the Cougars bullpens, or excuse me, the dugout. So he was way out in front of that one. The count 0-1. Pinch hitting for Griffin Myers. Kennel wanted that 4 outfield set. And something that Coach Choate had said was, of the 3, probably as, one of the more decent amounts of pop in his bat, but not as advanced, I guess, defensively as one of the other options. And so Choate, as a pitching guy, likes the pitching defense, knows that that's where it starts for him, as the 0-1 is fouled off again out in front of it. And that's what Savary has been effective at today, is keeping the Cougars on their heels and out in front of things. Here's the 0-2. There's a breaking ball right over the heart of the plate for a strike. What a breaking ball that was by Savary. A lot of bend. And Kennel goes down, looking 1 on 1 away. Here in the bottom of the 6th, Logan Johnstone will come up to the plate. But Heller, he ended up in 2013 is when he joined Iowa. He was the 20th head coach in the program history. First pitch delivered to Johnstone is low, ball 1, 1-0 the count. Had already coached at Upper Iowa, Northern Iowa, and then Indiana State. So really hadn't left the region, so to speak. And then he became the head coach of Iowa in 2014. "37 seasons as a head coach."
Yeah, and over 1,000 career wins. Very impressive resume just all around.
Yeah, he's one of 2 Iowa head coaches to lead the program to an NCAA tournament. The wind and the pitch. Another breaking ball. That one swung on and fouled straight down off of the instep, it looks like. Johnstone kind of limps out of the box. Take a few practice swings, and
We saw Cade Obermuller yesterday, and Obermuller is the 34th player that's been drafted under Rick Heller. So talking about how he's done a good job with this program. That's a lot of players to get drafted out of, a Big Ten school in Iowa. It's pretty impressive.
yeah, 13 All-Americans, 1 Big Ten player of the year, 2 Big Ten pitchers of the year. Showing bunt, pulls it back, takes it in the dirt. Rogers, nice block. Looks out at first base. No back pick opportunity as Shawnsby quickly gets back. The count 2-1.
But even more impressive than that is Washington State getting the first 2 wins of this series against a Big Ten
Absolutely.
team.
Here's Savary. Comes set, the 2-1. Showing bunt again, pulling it back. Johnstone takes it high, ball 3, 3-1 the count. But they have had some cool things. I mean, Iowa, under Heller, they went to the Dominican Republic in 2016, which was kind of neat. And then they went to Taipei, Taiwan, as the U.S. representative at the 2017 World University Games. So they're Globetrotters. Here's the wind and the pitch, and there's a foul ball. Chopper hit on the right side. Count 3-2 now. Four runs, 6 hits for Iowa. 1 run, 2 hits for the Cougs. Nary an error for either team. So payoff pitch coming up. Here it is. It's a breaking ball, hit straight back toward us, but the screen is protecting me. I couldn't have made that catch.
I thought you were going to have it.
It did look like it was heading. It actually looked like I was heading to our buddies next door, the broadcasters for Iowa. Would have been in their booth.
Yeah, I take it back anyways. You probably wouldn't have caught it because you had your pencil in that hand. That's the only reason why.
That's the only reason, and the eraser in the other hand.
Right.
Here's the 3-2. Another breaking ball swung on, a poked foul to the left-hand side. And the count remains. By the way, in that World University games, the U.S. team went 5-2 and then fell to Japan in the gold medal games. So, but those wins that they had were over Mexico, Russia, Korea, and then 2 games against the Czech Republic. So quite the barnstorming. Here's the 3-2. There's a line drive, base hit into right field. That's going to get down and go all the way to the wall. So beaming over to grab the ball, coming around third base. Shonsby, the throw to the plate is cut off, and Washington State, an RBI single here in the bottom of the 6th inning by Logan Johnstone, ripped that one to right field, and Beeman shaded further off to the right, had a long way to run. So just chipping away now at this Iowa lead, 4-2 the score. And Gavin Roy will come up to the plate. That was one of those, your coach, you're awfully proud of Johnstone. Foul, he hung in there, and looks like we talked about Rick Heller quite a bit here in the last little bit. Rick Heller coming out to the mound. So that's going to be it for Aaron Savary, who really pitched, he hung in there for quite a while, and the last couple innings pitched quite well. But what do we say if it's going to be the tale of 2 pitchers? And it looks like here in the bottom of the 6th inning, a run in and still 1 on only 1 out. Looks like Heller says, hey, this could get out of control. Let's make the change. So new pitcher coming in. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to give you all those deets. 1 on, 1 out, 1 in here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 4-2 Iowa leads. But a new pitcher for Iowa, we got Ben DeTay. And if we got to give you the deets on Ben DeTay, it'll be South Florida. He threw 2/3 of an inning and then 3 innings against Notre Dame. He gave up a run in that one, 2 runs in the South Florida. So he struggled a little bit. The wind in the pitch is taken for a strike by Gavin Roy. Although giving up only 1 run in 3 innings isn't too bad. But on the season, he's made, this will be his 3rd appearance, 3 2/3 inning, 0-1, and a 7.36 ERA. There's a ground ball. Sharply hit to the third baseman, Swales. He'll stay with it, pick it up, throw to first base in time for the out. That ball, hard hit. Swales got the glove on it. Could have gone anywhere, but it stayed right in front of him. So 2 down. And Luke Thiel will be the hitter. Logan Johnstone had to stay at second base on that. So unfortunately for the Cougs, he could not advance. Still in scoring position as Luke Thiel takes the first pitch, and they're going to call a balk on Bendite. So the 5th year out of Clive, Iowa, called for the balk. So now the Cougars have that runner on at third base in Logan Johnstone. Here's the wind and the delivery. And it's low and inside in the count at 1-0. Thiel with a single, infield single in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Popped out to the first baseman in the 4th. Here's the wind and the pitch. There's a ground ball to Hopper. Grabbed by Schulte, the shortstop. He'll throw to first base. High throw, but handled by Wolf at first base. And that concludes the bottom of the 6th inning. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We go to the 7th. Iowa leads it 4-2. Well, Gabe Schneider still out on the hill for the Cougs. Brought in, faced 1 batter, got the Cougs out of the top of the 6th inning. And now he'll go to work on the middle of the order. Caleb Wolf, Jackson Beeman, and Daniel Rogers for Iowa, who leads this 4-2. Wolf stands in from the left-hand side. Schneider, the big, tall right-hander, the wind and the pitch. Fastball outside, 1-0 the count. Wolf has a couple ground outs and also a infield single. That was the bunt that scored the 4th run. Never would have expected that out of Wolf, but good placement, good timing. Here's the wind and the pitch. There's a fastball, just misses. And the count 2-0. That is his main job. Throw some strikes. Actually, the main job of a pitcher would be to throw balls that look like strikes. Here's the wind and the pitch. But that's really hard to do. Is the next one over for a strike, 2-1. Wolf stands back in there, taps the bat a few times. The wind and the delivery. There's a fastball over for a strike. Count evens at 2-2. Schneider stands at 6'5" out of Gilbert, Arizona. The wind and the pitch. There's a ground ball hard hit towards second. Fielded by Obenauer as it flattens out on the ground. Easy throw to first base in time for the out. 1 away. Schneider coming out of Castile High School in Arizona. 3-year letter winner in baseball. 2-time 5A state champion. As a high schooler, had a career 1.67 ERA. Had all the accolades, all of that kind of stuff. But definitely comes from a family that has some baseball experience. Here's the wind and the pitch. Down low and in the dirt to Jackson Beeman. The count goes to 1-0. His dad pitched at VCU in Norfolk State, was drafted by the Angels in the year 2000, 12th round. Played AAA. Got up to AAA by 2005. The wind and the pitch. There's a fly ball hit to left center field. It looks like it's going to be Hartman, Watterson over there, but Hartman underneath it, and he'll make the grab. 2 down. So the freshman gets out number 2. His dad, Scott, has also worked as a rehab coach for the Brewers and is the head baseball coach at Phoenix College. So it comes from some baseball stock, if you will. So Daniel Rogers comes up to the dish. He's walked twice. He's grounded out. He has scored a run. One of the 4. Iowa leads 4-2. The wind in the pitch. Breaking ball inside. 1-0 the count. Tomorrow, Sunday game, originally slated. So pay attention to this, my friends. Originally slated for 11 a.m. Pacific time. It is now, I'm told, a noon game. The wind in the pitch. Fastball right on the black on the outside corner.
Noon Central pitch, correct?
Yes, you are correct. Sorry, I'm clear as mud, right? 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific. The line in the delivery is over for a strike. So it was scheduled for 11 Central, 9 Pacific. Now it's noon Central, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Davis, this is why we brought you. Here's the wind in the pitch. The 1-2, it's a ground ball. Hit foul down the first base side. Count remains at 1-2. That and just bringing, excessive humor into the booth.
I would say excessive is
is what we
that's
all
the
think
word?
of when we think of you.
Oh, okay. That's too bad.
Righty on lefty matchup. The wind in the delivery. That fastball high. Ball 2-2 the count. Rogers a big boy, and I know he's looking at that 320 marker in right field. Well, I can do that. I could poke one out to there. No wind right now. Here's the wind, the 2-2. Breaking ball right on the outside corner, but not called a strike by Jeff Minton. Gabe Schneider was halfway off the hill, and Thine talking to the umpire about that. You know, you have a little bit of leeway, but those catcher-umpire conversations are happening without the head turned. The wind in the next delivery is fouled straight back and over our heads, and the count remains at 2-2. That's kind of the rule number 1. That's the reason they say you don't draw a line, do that kind of stuff when you're up to bat, because you don't want to show the umpire up. So you have those conversations with the umpire, and they're happy. Well, I don't know that they're happy, but they're willing to have that conversation if you're not going to show them up. Here's the wind in the 3-2, and they're not going to like that, the Cougars aren't, because they thought they had strike 3, and instead a 2-out walk given up to Daniel Rogers. Those are the ones that are just maddening. So Cooper Schulte, 1 for 3 today, will come up to the plate. Iowa leads 4-2. Game 3 of this 4-game series. Top of the 7th inning from the Pasta Bowl, La Moderna Field. Look at first base. Here's the wind. Schneider's pitch, low and away. We mentioned that La Moderna was initially the official sponsor of the Friday fireworks, which just about every minor league team has that nowadays, the 1-0. And that's low and inside. And the count goes to 2-0. But it ended up being a good arrangement, apparently. And then La Moderna said, hey, we want to have something even bigger. Let's get the naming rights for the Railroaders' home stadium. And thus it began. Here's the 2-0. There's a ground ball, one chopper hit to Thiel. He'll go the easy way to first for the out. So here in the top of the 7th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, 4-2 Iowa. Noah Thine strides to the plate to lead off the bottom of the 7th inning. Thine has been hit by a pitch and he's grounded out. 4-2 Iowa. Here's the wind into Tay. The pitch, there's a ground ball, or excuse me, a bunted ball right back to Detai, just off to his left actually a little bit. And that was an easy grounder to field for Detai. So unlike that play that we saw earlier by Wolf, that one was just a little too simple. Good idea by Noah Thine, just the execution was off. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th, and Cole Watterson will come up to the plate. Number 9 hitter for the Cougs. The wind and the pitch, a fastball, 4 strike, 0-1. Detai is listed at 6'195". I don't know about that. Here's the wind and the 0-1. And that's a little outside. 1-1 the count, just off the outside portion of the plate. To me, he looks about 215 for some reason. Maybe it's just baggy. Maybe he's wearing baggy clothes, baggy uniform. Here's the 1-1. There's a foul ball hit to the right side. That's going to work its way over to the hill. It actually lands just beyond the net onto the hill. And the little kids running over there trying to get themselves a souvenir. The count at 1-1 on Cole Watterson. Watterson has a strikeout and a ground out. Strikeout came his first at bat in the 2nd. Ground out to 3rd in the bottom of the 5th. Here's Detai's 1-1. Excuse me, a 1-2, I should say, because the foul ball, and the count as the next pitch is high, evens it at 2-2. Watterson pounding the chest as they do to each other. They will motion toward the dugout. The 2-2 is high, ball 3, 3-2 the count. Kind of pump themselves up. I always thought the chest pump was a me thing, but they do it as a team. And there's a ground ball, 1 hopper, hit by Detai. He shortens up, throws out to first in time for the out. So both the first batters, Detai showing his adaptability as pitcher and fielder. Mentioned tomorrow's game being a 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central now at this point, as Hartman steps in. WSU's probable pitcher still listed as TBD as Hartman swings through the first one, 0-1 the count. Whereas Iowa will send Reese Buter to the mound. Here's the wind and the delivery. There's a fly ball hit into right center field. Smoked pretty good. Risley all the way back to the warning track to the wall. Soaring, so long. Max Hartman sends one out to right center field as Risley went back. Looked like he would have a shot at that. Just over the top of Risley's glove. Just over the fence for a home run. Cuts that lead. It's now 4-3 Iowa. And that'll bring up Ollie Obenauer. Now the complexity of this game changed just a little bit. It's a 1-run game as Detay comes back. This time to Obenauer, swing and a miss. Big cut by Obenauer on that change. The off speed has been the doozy for the Cougs today. Next one, a fastball. So the difference between these two, we're talking high 70s, low 80s on the change, 92 on the gun. So the count 1-1 as the fastball missed. The next delivery, another change, swung on and fouled straight down, and the count 1-2. So Hartman with a 2-out home run to right center field here in the bottom of the 7th inning, bringing it to a 4-3 Iowa lead. Detay, the wind and the delivery. There's a foul ball hit to the right over toward that railroad car that says Pullman on it. Well, when Davison and I got here today, we spent some time walking around the ballpark, taking pictures. Went out and saw the Pullman car, the 1-2. Here it comes. Ooh, just barely missed. A little bit off of the strike zone, and the count at 2-2. It was a nice chance to walk around the ballpark. Here's Detay, the wind and the 2-2. Swing and a miss. So down goes Obenauer. That ends the bottom of the 7th inning, but not before the Cougs get one back on a solo home run to right center field by Max Hartman. At the end of 7, Iowa leads it 4-3. "4-3 Iowa leads as Mitch. We got another pinch hitter, it looks like. So we got Moore coming up to the plate as the pinch hitter, Reese Moore, who we've seen before. We got Reese Moore, Ben Swales, and Ben Wilmus. And for the play-by-play, here's Davis.
Top of the 8th inning, Washington State cut the lead to 1 with that Hartman home run. And the first pitch of this inning is a hit by pitch. Schneider drills Moore.
Welcome to the game.
Yes, welcome to the game. Reese Moore, who started at catcher on Thursday, was the designated hitter yesterday. And today comes into pinch hit for Mitch Wood, who came into pinch hit for Connor Hennings. So up to bat, Ben Swales. After the hit by pitch from Gabe Schneider to Reese Moore. That has Moore at first base for Iowa. And here's the first pitch from Schneider. No, he throws back to first base. Shonsby catches it, but back in time is Reese Moore. So Ben Swales, 0 for 3 today. 2 strikeouts, and then a fielder's choice in the top of the 6th inning. Here's a pitch from Schneider. Swales showing bunt, and he tips it foul. Count goes to 0-1 against Ben Swales from Tiffin, Iowa. Again, we mentioned on Thursday, he's a 5-time state track medalist in high school. And was his high school baseball team's MVP. Was also a first-team All-State, so he's a very, very good athlete. Playing third base today for the Iowa Hawkeyes. 0-1 count. Infield creeping in and a shown bunt. Fouled again. Count goes to 0-2 against Ben Swales with nobody out. Iowa's got a base runner on first base. Reese Moore out there standing on the pillow.
It's interesting. I mean, Swales is coming in like he's going to bunt for a base hit. I mean, everybody knows it was going to be a sacrifice bunt. You get it, but he didn't do that.
0-2 count against Swales. Here's a pitch from Snyder. And that is a swing and a miss from Swales. Strikes him out. Great pitch from Schneider in the first out of the inning.
It was. I kind of call that a failed at bat on Swales' part. I mean, he had 2 bunt attempts, but both went foul, but both of them, he wasn't set up very well for the bunt. And then that just was a lack of making the play. Looks like we've got the man coming out of the dugout. So we've got a relief pitcher coming in. We'll try to take a look who this is. And it looks like it might be Hyder. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you all the deets on this relief pitcher.
All of the deets indeed. It's 4-3. Iowa has the lead in the top of the 8th inning. You're listening to KOGR, student voice of the Blues. Top of the 8th inning, 4-3. Iowa has the lead and a new pitcher for Washington State, Rylan Hyder. Out for Washington State, wearing number 54 in white against the leadoff man for Iowa, Ben Wilmus, who's got 2 runs in this game so far. First pitch to Wilmus is not going to happen. They're going to throw it to Chauncey. Reese Moore gets back to first base. Reese Moore was hit by a pitch before Schneider's day was concluded. So still no pitch thrown to Wilmus yet on this at-bat. And here's a delivery. That is a ball to Ben Wilmus in this sort of submarine style as it's described. Rylan Hyder being brought in the top of the 8th inning for Washington State, down by 1 run. Runner on first for Iowa. Here's the pitch. And that is fouled, so just hit the bat off the pitch. And the count goes to 1-1 with 1 out. Again, Reese Moore standing at first base after coming in to pinch hit for Mitch Wood. And so Wilmus will approach the plate and ready his stance against Hayter. Here's a pitch from Hyder, and it is a swing and a miss and a throw from Thine. Is it in time? And they got him. Reese Moore got caught stealing. What a throw by Noah Thine.
Yeah, that's one of those that we absolutely, as Coug fans, will take. Boy, I thought he was safe.
It was pretty bang. They end up saying that he got him in the back. It was a good throw from Thine. It was pretty close, but they end up getting the out. So 2 outs in the inning. And the fans are not happy.
Yeah, Deb, our buddy Deb down there, letting off a blue streak that would turn a sailor,
1-2 pitch from Hyder is fouled down the right field. Wilmus tipped that one foul. So Washington State battling through. They're down by 1 run, but maybe a little momentum on that. Caught stealing throw by Noah Thine. A really good delivery. Whether or not it was actually an out, Washington State will take it. 1-2 count. Here's a pitch from Hyder. Swung, hit towards Gavin Roy. Shortstop fields it cleanly. Throw to first base is in time, and they get Wilmus out.
And now the Boo Birds are going to happen again, just because, as a fan, you think of what could have been.
Absolutely. And so we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. No runs for Iowa. No hits in the inning, and 1 runner left on base when we go to the bottom of the 9th. Bottom of the 8th inning.
You got it.
Listen to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning with Washington State down by 1 run. Ryan Shamsby, the first baseman, up for Washington State. And here's the delivery from Datay, and a swing and a hit over the top of the shortstop, Schulte, and it gets into the center fielder's glove. But Shamsby gets there to first base and a base hit. Great hit from Shamsby.
Yeah, that's exactly everything that you need right now. Get started off by getting your leadoff hitter on board. So we should see Eli Kennel now. He came on to pinch hit in the, but it's going to be another.
Rico Longo.
Yeah, Rico Longo is now going to pinch hit. So just a different player in that designated hitter slot. So Kennel the last time, and now Rico Longo.
Rico Longo's been good in this series so far. What can he do in this at-bat for Washington State? Rico Longo batting a .258 average on the season from Spokane, Washington. One runner on first base. It's Shamsby. Here's the delivery from Datay, and that's a strike to Rico Longo. So first pitch of the inning, Shamsby hit it over the top of the shortstop Schulte, and it gets a base hit for Washington State. They get a base runner on. 0-1 pitch to Longo is strike two. Watched it go over the top of the plate.
See that Daniel Wright warming up in the pen for the Hawkeyes, a right-hander.
0-2 count, one runner on, no outs. Big swing from Rico Longo into the corner in left field. Shamsby's rounding second, heading towards third. And he's going to stand up at third, and it's a stand-up double for Rico Longo. Pumps his chest a couple of times and tips the hat to the dugout. What a hit by Rico Longo.
Yeah, very timely hit by Longo. That's something we've seen a couple times today, where a pinch hitter, once for Iowa and then once now for WSU, has come in and delivered.
Great hit from Longo to advance Shamsby all the way to third base, and now they've got the tying run at third and the go-ahead run at second base with Logan Johnstone up to bat. Before today, he was the only Cougar with a home run. Then Max Hartman drilled a home run in this game.
Looks like Rogers is going to run out and talk to the pitcher. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Little power today that we've seen with Hartman. But in this case, all you need is good, solid base hit. I mean, tying run would come on in a sac fly with two runners on, no force. So that bodes well. But a base hit and Rico Longo on at second base has enough speed to be able to score.
Especially with Johnstone at bat, he can really put this in a perfect spot. And he's done it a couple times this season already. No outs for Washington State, two runners on. They got one at second and third. Lefty Johnstone in at the plate. Here's the pitch from Datay. That's high for ball one against Logan Johnstone, the right fielder for Washington State, who had another diving catch in this game. It was in the third inning, but then he caught the one right after that. So he's had a really nice day. Here's the pitch and a big hit out towards center field. And that will drop, and here comes Shamsby heading towards home plate. Longo rounds third. Gets the signal to go home, and he will step on the plate easily, and Washington State takes the lead over the Iowa Hawkeyes with a great hit.
Yeah, that one, the outfielders were playing fairly shallow. I think they were thinking, and you don't ever want the ball to go over your head, thinking maybe a chance to have a play at the plate. But in this case, it just splits the defense, splits the left and the right fielder, or excuse me, the left and the center fielder. And that's going to be it. Looks like head coach Heller going out to the mound, and he'll take Datay out. So we'll take a quick break. And, of course, when we come back, all the deets on the right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
All the deets. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Bottom of the 8th inning, Washington State just took a 1-run lead on Iowa with that double from Logan Johnstone into the center field gap, and Iowa brings in a new pitcher, Daniel Wright, standing 6'9", 245 pounds, making his 3rd appearance of the season.
Dude's a skyscraper.
Absolutely is. This is his 3rd appearance, and he's had 2.2 innings pitched before this. Gavin Roy up to bat for Washington State, the righty versus the righty. Here's a pitch from Wright, shown bunt from Gavin Roy, and he's going to sprint towards first base. Throw from Wright is in time, and he got him out.
Nice sacrifice bunt, though, by Gavin Roy. Again, nobody out. So move that runner to third base. Now that sac fly in order, and you never know. There's anything, wild pitch or pass ball or whatever, and you also have those additional opportunities. And potentially, depending on how the infield plays, that a ground ball scores you. But in a close game, you can see Iowa's bringing the whole infield in.
Infield is in. Luke Thiel standing at the plate. The right-handed batter playing third base for Washington State. 1 of 3 today. Johnstone at third base. Here's a pitch from Wright. And a check swing from Luke Thiel. Takes ball 1. Had a pop out in the 4th inning. And then got a ground out from the shortstop in the 6th inning. Then his single came in the 2nd inning. Here's a pitch from Wright. That's high to Luke Thiel. Watched it go by, nods his head towards Nate Schutt, saying, yep, I knew it. 2-0 the count. Washington State has taken the lead, up 5-4 against Iowa. They won the first 2 games of this series. Here's the pitch from Wright. Swung on by Thiel, and this is a bloop over the top, and it drops, and here comes Logan Johnstone. And he'll tap the plate, and Washington State has a 2-run advantage.
That is just the absolute heartbreak of baseball if you're Iowa, and one of those you absolutely will take if you're WSU. You can hit the ball right on the screws and hit it right to somebody, and then you can have a little Texas leaguer, right? Because we're in Texas, little Texas leaguer like that you're like, man, I barely got it anything, but it counts.
Absolutely, it counts, and Washington State will more than happily take that. Luke Thiel gets to first base. Johnstone scores, and Washington State has the advantage by 2 runs at this point, and they've also taken the advantage by 2 hits against Iowa. Wright will throw back to Wolf at first base. Thiel gets back, and he's safe.
And that's not to say that WSU has gotten all the runs on little bleeders like that. I mean, let's be honest, the doubles that they had earlier in this inning, including especially Logan Johnstone's to left center field, were just ropes.
No pitches yet to Thine, the catcher. Here's the first one. And that is ball number 1 to Noah Thine.
And with that, you can close the book on Dete, as anybody that he had on in this inning has come around to score. So he ends up with 1 2/3, giving up 4 runs all earned. So he would be on the hook for the loss should WSU hold on.
Wright will throw to Wolf, and a pickoff attempt, and Thiel gets back. 1-0 the count against Noah Thine. 0 for 2 today. was hit by a pitch in the second inning, and then had a chopper that got picked up by the pitcher and thrown out in the fourth inning. And so Thine will foul this one off, and the count goes to 1-1.
I think after a steady diet of off-speed pitches, the Cougars were really struggling with that today. Seeing something different from Dete, they were able to, of course, have a little more success.
They have the advantage 6-4. 1-1 the count with one man on and one out. Swing and a miss from Noah Thine. Second strike against him. Luke Thiel standing at first base. Thine at the plate with just one out. They scored 2 runs in this inning to take the lead. 3 runs in this inning, to take the lead by 2. Here's Wright's pitch, the 1-2, and it hits Noah Thine. And they're going to say that he's out after leaning into the pitch, and that's the second time Noah Thine's had that happen to him. And there's a strikeout.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one at all. The last time that happened, it was questionable, but you could have seen him that time. I don't think so.
It was definitely close to where he was just standing normally. It didn't really look like he moved it. Obviously, you're going to move a little bit when a ball's flying at you like that.
And you see right now with Coach Choate, he's trying to have, you don't want to, again, show up the umpire, right? But he covers his mouth a little bit so you can have that conversation without it being, an objectionable offense.
So Cole Watterson will come up with 2 outs after the hit by pitch out on Noah Thine, and Luke Thiel still at first base for Washington State. They do have the 2-run advantage. Here's Watterson in the 9th spot for Washington State, the center fielder. Yet to get a hit today, 0 for 3. Here's the pitch from Wright, and it goes off the glove of Rogers for ball number 1.
Yeah, I think Jeff Minton just missed that call.
And it would have put Thiel at second base and Thine at first, but instead Thiel just stays at first base, and the 1-0 count against Watterson, the center fielder. Wright will throw to first base. Thiel gets back. 2 outs against Washington State. Again, they've taken the lead in this inning with 3 runs. Johnsby, Longo, and Johnstone all came across for Washington State. And time is called by the catcher. Wright will toss the ball into his non-glove hand. Watterson stares at the bat. Big moment for Washington State. They've got 2 outs with a 2-run lead against Iowa. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Thiel's going, and the chopper goes to Swales. Throw to first in time, and that will end the inning. So they leave 1 runner stranded. They score 3 runs on 4 hits with no errors. Washington State has the 6-4 advantage, and we go to the top of the 9th inning. You're listening to KOGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Gable Mitchell will come up for Iowa in the top of the 9th inning. Washington State has the 6-4 lead. They were down the whole game, then they just scored 3 runs in the 8th inning and have taken the lead on the Hawkeyes. Here's the pitch from Hyder, and that is outside for ball 1. So Mitchell, the second batter for Iowa in the starting lineup today. He is 0 for 2 today. Was hit by a pitch in the 6th inning the last time he was up. This is ball number 2. Count goes to 2-0 against Gable Mitchell. Batting .317 this season. 2-0 count against him. Here's the pitch from Hyder. And that is a strike. 2-1 the count against Mitchell. Again, Iowa was leading the entire game. Then they had 2 consecutive scoreless innings where Washington State had 1 run in the 7th and 3 runs in the 8th to take the 6-4 advantage. Here's a pitch from Hyder. Swung on, and it's caught immediately by Luke Thiel with his knee on the ground, and that is another great catch in the hot corner from Luke Thiel. Tremendous catch. Just a rifle off the bat from Gable Mitchell, and just immediately caught. And that'll bring up Miles Risley for the Iowa Hawkeyes, wearing number 11 in the black. Here's the pitch from Hyder inside, and he kind of ducks away from it. Sucked his body in, and the count goes to 1-0. After a great catch by Luke Thiel, got the first out of the inning. Here's the pitch from Hyder, and that is ball number 2 against Risley. 2-0 count against Risley. With 1 out, here's the pitch and a strike. Count goes to 2-1. So the first at-bat of this inning, Gable Mitchell just rocketed a shot to Luke Thiel, and he caught it immediately. 1 knee on the ground.
Yeah, he was kind of out in front of that. Hyder off the plate, but makes him.
Here's a chopper to Gavin Roy. Fields it, stands up, fires to first base. Shonsby makes the catch, and it's in time. And there's the second out of the inning. Washington State with 2 outs and as many batters.
He's making it look so difficult out of the hand with his delivery, the arm angle, the slot that he's coming from. And he is off the plate, but we go back to making a ball look like a strike.
Absolutely. He does a really good job on the mound for Washington State. And now Caleb Wolf, one of Iowa's better hitters this season for when he has played. He's done really well. They need him in a big spot. Washington State trying to take the 3rd straight game. And this is inside for ball number 1 on Caleb Wolf. 2 outs for Iowa, nobody on, down by 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning. Here's the pitch from Hyder. That's in for strike 1 against Wolf.
Well, it was Tom House, actually, who's the one who said, your job is to make throw a ball that looked like a strike. If you can't do that, just throw a strike. I can't remember how the sequence went, but if anybody knew pitching, it was Tom House.
Here's the 1-1 pitch from Hyder. Swing and a miss from Caleb Wolf. That goes to 2 strikes.
Hyder looking good.
Hyder's looking very good for Washington State with 2 outs on Iowa. Nobody on base for the Hawkeyes. They're down by 2 runs. Washington State with a great rally. Here's a pitch from Hyder. Fouled backwards. Great tip foul by Caleb Wolf. 1-2 the count. 2 outs for Washington State, up by 2 runs. First baseman Caleb Wolf staring down Hyder. Here's the 1-2 pitch swing, and it's going to head out towards second base. Obenauer makes the grab, fires it to first base, and it is not in time. And Caleb Wolf is safe.
Well, that's one of those. You're Obenauer, you're giving it your best shot, but that's also one of those that you say, hey, you had no chance of getting him. Hold on to that because there's only a risk if you throw it away. In that case, he did not throw it away.
Right.
But that is the risk, and that's why you see some infielders, a casual fan will say, hey, why didn't you try to throw him out? You never know. Well, sometimes you do know that you could only risk something bad.
Right. Yeah, we've seen that a couple times from Schulte in this series where he'll catch it for Iowa in the shortstop and then just not do anything with it.
wisely.
And so Jackson Beeman, who has hit a couple of home runs in this series, will come up both times in the 4th inning. This will be a ball, first time to Jackson Beeman. So 2 outs with 1 runner on there, down by 2 runs. Washington State will pitch it. And a big swing from Beeman. That ball is deep, but it's foul.
Crushed.
Yeah, Jackson Beeman has an absolute cannon on his arm.
He just hit a home run, but foul.
Right. And that's dangerous for Washington State, playing with fire. Caleb Wolf at first base gets a lead. Hyder versus Beeman. 1-1 count with 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Hyder. That is going to be just a bit outside for ball number 2. Count goes 2-1 with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. Washington State 6, Iowa 4. 2-1 pitch from Hyder. Ball 3. 3-1 against Beeman with Wolf on first base. Top of the 9th inning. Washington State trying to go 3 up on Iowa in this series. Here's a pitch from Hyder. And that is ball number 4. Beeman will take first base on balls. And that'll move Wolf to second base.
Well, with a 2-run lead, you of course don't want to have that tying run on base, but you also don't want to give a strike to Beeman, who will park it.
And Choate will come out to talk. And
this is going to be Hyder's to win or lose, it looks like. There's nobody out in the pen.
yeah.
Nobody warming up anyway. It is Hyder's.
Well, Ryan Hyder's done a really good job for Washington State. Fido has given up now 2 base runners for Iowa in this situation.
Yeah, all with 2 outs.
And that was one of those problems yesterday with the 2 outs. Washington State gave up a couple of different opportunities for Iowa with 2 outs. This time, still a chance to put it away for Washington State and get their 3rd win in a row. 2 outs in the top of the 9th. It'll be Daniel Rogers, the catcher, to come up.
And I did look it up, and I had it a little bit weird, so it looks like an offensive timeout or something.
They're going to put Andy Nelson
running.
The pinch run for Jackson Beeman. Andy Nelson, the guy we were talking about a lot on Thursday and Friday, a preseason All Big Ten watch list player that had a slow start to this game. And so Daniel Rogers will step up for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
It's throw strikes unless they're hitting strikes, then throw balls that look like strikes and strikes that look like balls. And if that doesn't work, remember, pitching's really hard and you'll get them next time.
Absolutely. Will Rylan Hyder get them this time? Here's the first pitch to Rogers, and that'll be foul.
Of course, Tom House, legendary here in Texas, especially for helping Nolan Ryan. And then, of course, Randy Johnson.
Those are 2 very good pitchers. If Rylan Hyder can be even half as good as those guys were, Washington State would take it.
Yeah, that's quite the resume.
0-1 count against Rogers. Here's the pitch from Hyder, and that is outside for ball 1. So again, Iowa with 2 base runners on, down by 2 runs. Andy Nelson just came in for Jackson Beeman. He's at first base. Caleb Wolf is at second base. Hyder on the mound with Rogers at the plate. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch from Hyder. Outside again, very similar pitch, and that is 2-1 against Rogers. With 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. Rogers, the lefty, versus Hyder, the righty. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit out towards Obenauer at second base. Fields it, fires it to Shonsby, and he's out. Rogers is thrown out. Obenauer did a great job to field it and throw it to Shonsby, and that will end it. Washington State gets the 6-4 win, 3 in a row against the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, great job by WSU. It looked like, it's hard to define or articulate momentum in baseball, but it felt like it was Iowa's game for most of the game. And then again, Savary, who had pitched well, had got out of some stuff early on, and then he really settled down. That came back to haunt him. And at that point in the game, WSU was not going to allow that. So they were able to chase Savary. And that bottom of the 8th, man, getting fastballs instead of those breaking balls that they were struggling with, I mean, you could see that they had the talent there, a single, a double. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning, the sacrifice, and another single, that one a bloop single. It doesn't matter. They all count.
Absolutely. They do all count. We'll be back with a quick post-game recap. Washington State gets their 3rd win in a row against the Iowa Hawkeyes. 6-4, the final score. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Three in a row for Washington State against the Iowa Hawkeyes. 6-4 victory with Rylan Hyder getting the win, going to 1-0 on the season, and Ben Dete going to 0-2 for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, Davis, the Hawkeyes scored a run in the 1st, 4th, 5th, 6th, but then nothing after that, whereas the Cougars started slower. They scored 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 3 runs in the 8th inning. We briefly mentioned that, but we will certainly share those highlights tomorrow. The audio highlights is part of our pregame show. Just a reminder, we have heard that the time change means 10 a.m. Pacific at noon here in Central Time, which is an hour later than originally was planned. But Iowa, 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 11 left on. WSU, 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors, and 6 left on. Rylan Hyder gets the win for the Cougars. He moves to 1-0 in the year. Ben Dete gets the loss. He moves to 0-2 non-save situation, so no saves in this one. But game 3 of the 4-game series goes to Washington State, meaning, Davis, that they win a series.
Yeah.
0-8 start, but now they've won a series against, as we said, the word we used, a formidable foe. Anytime you can come into this any kind of foe like this from the conference that they're coming from, that's good. That's a good win. That's what you want. And an established program like Iowa, so taking 3 of 4, getting the series win. But now we have a chance to go for a sweep here.
Absolutely. Really good performance in the last 3 games for Washington State. We'll see what they do tomorrow, but they get the win today, 6-4. And from Brandon Chapman, KUGR.
I was gonna tell you, let's just tell everybody we'll come 20 minutes with the pregame show tomorrow early.
Sure.
Let's start at 20 minutes before before scheduled game time, so we can get in all the highlights and what have you.
Well, yes, that'll be a good idea, because today was a little bit pinched. It was a good pregame, but it was a little bit pinched. I would agree. That's a good decision.
Pinched a little bit.
Yes.
Pinched, a little bit.
Well, anyways, so for Brandon Chapman, Davis Hagen saying so long from Cleburne, Texas. We'll be back tomorrow. Washington State gets the 6-4 win in their 3rd in a row.